Officer Simone Burris says that they have a teenager in custody, but so far no arrest has been made. A press conference happening later today in Rush County. The sheriff's office and federal agents will be sharing what they know about the disappearance of Valerie Tyndall, who has not been seen since early June. The FBI searched a home in Rush County on Tuesday as part of the case. The home is that of a man who has already been charged with lying to police. More money for schools. That's what the state's largest teachers union is asking of state lawmakers for the upcoming session.
The legislature needs to fully fund the cost of textbooks.
ISTA President Kevin Gamble. That's likely a non-starter for lawmakers, though, since it's not a budget year. They do plan, however, to address low reading scores among third graders in Indiana. A man in Columbus arrested Tuesday in a fatal shooting that happened on Monday. Harrison Silcox.
Just before 5 p.m. Monday, Columbus police officers responded to the Homestead Mobile Home Park northeast of downtown Columbus for a shooting. Inside of a mobile home, the cops found Alejandro Flores, who had been shot and killed. Corbin Hippensteel was quickly ID'd as a possible suspect, and he was later found walking around the park. He's now in the Bartholomew County Jail on a preliminary charge of murder. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Well, most sportsbooks had Purdue as a 31-point favorite over Texas Southern on Tuesday. Well, the top-ranked Boilermakers won by 32 as they routed the Tigers 99-67 inside Mackey Arena.
I thought the difference in the game was the beginning of the second half, just kind of pushed the game out, that first 5-6 minutes.
Head coach Matt Painter, Braden Smith led the way with 19 points. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
All right, Kurt, looking at inbound 70, that's a crash after rural, backing us up to Emerson Avenue, and still have a little bit of a slow going westbound to 465 northeast side, 69 to Allisonville. Inbound 69 slows 96th Street down to 82nd. Traffic sponsored by Lowe's. Cyber Golden Gable deals are now here at Lowe's. Right now, get the best deals of the season. Hurry! These savings won't last. I'm Matt Baer with Traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
When it comes to illegal immigration, there's only one true conservative running for U.S. Senate this year. That's Trump-endorsed Jim Banks. Jim Banks has a plan, and it's simple. If you're caught in this country illegally, you're sent back to where you came from. Got that? No? Okay, well, let me repeat it. When Jim Banks is the senator, his policy on illegal immigration will be as follows. If you're in the country illegally, you're going back to where you came from. Mi casa is no longer tu casa, my friends. Jim Banks, Navy veteran, Trump endorsed. A simple plan for dealing with illegal immigration. Jim Banks for U.S. Senate. American Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americanleadershippac.org.
Extended Black Friday. Up to 52% off all products, plus 10% in manufacturer rebates. For a limited time only, go to bwindow.com.
WIBC News Time 9:06. Now the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Blustery and cold this morning, but sunny and warmer this afternoon. Today's high 46. Tonight we're partly cloudy, quiet, not as cold. A low down to 33. I'm Wish TV Storm Track A meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
A clear radar 26 and mostly sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 29th. It is 7 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Now, I'm going to let you in on something.
What?
We're going to talk about Christie, but I can tell from the look on your face you've got something else in mind.
Well, I need an envelope.
Okay.
I don't know. I used to know where everything was in this building.
Did you look in the kitchen office supply
that's
area?
where Ryan Hendricks said it was, but I didn't see any. Now I was frantically looking before the start of the show. No, Officer Brad, I need like a envelope. We can put a letter in because Casey and I drafted what I felt was a very articulate, firmly worded letter to the Attorney General Todd Rokita. You have read and approved the letter.
I signed it, in fact.
Matt Bear read and approved the letter, and
well, if it's got Matt Bear's approval, then it's
Matt,
all systems go.
You are the two most reasonable people I know, and we'll read that letter here a little later on in the show, and because we got to talk about Toddski here in a little bit too. He could be in big trouble again. Because he kept flapping his gums. But I need a letter, an envelope to put this letter in, so that when we walk it over there, we can just hand it to the person in question,
the
who's
gatekeeper.
Working maybe Todd will be there.
I doubt he's going to accept anything from you right now.
I just can't find an envelope, and so I'm going to just scour the building here.
All right, I'll help you find one.
We'll bring Officer Brad with us when we go over there for moral/physical support.
Be escorted over. I think that's a good idea.
He brought us donuts.
I know.
Officer Brad is our favorite officer.
He's fantastic.
He brings us donuts all the time.
He does.
And so anyway, I was just on a quest. I was looking around the studio here to see if there was like a loose envelope.
We'll find something,
yeah,
okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about Christie, okay? He expressed...
From Todd Rokita to Chris Christie. Boy, there were two people who just should be... like, if it were pro wrestling, they should be on a tag team together.
You think so?
Because you remember the Office meme? They're the same...
It's the same picture?
It's the same guy.
It's the same thing? Same thing. Well, Chris Christie has expressed his determination to stay in the race no matter what the results of the New Hampshire primary. He's like the Energizer Bunny, right? He
Casey,
just keeps on going.
You've been happily married for a long time, but
26 years this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim is so lucky to have you.
Isn't he, though?
So you have probably never actually been broken up with. You didn't Kirk Herbstreit. You weren't in a relationship with Kirk Herbstreit.
No.
He just chose Susie What's-Her-Face.
He chose Jenny Ruby. But you know what? Since you bring up Kirk Herbstreit, this has been on my mind for a while.
Oh.
Have you noticed? I'm sorry. We're completely going off the rails here.
No, it's fine.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
No, I don't.
Okay, I do. And he's been posting a bunch of pictures of his dog recently.
Okay.
It's like this whole new thing for him.
Does that bother you that he's into his dog?
No, I actually like it. It's like this whole new world.
Now, how close were you to actually dating Kirk? Like, did you?
I was not close to dating him at all. He dated Jenny Ruby.
It was a bachelor type thing where it came down to you and Susie, what's her name, and he chose Susie, what's her face.
I love how I've told you 3 times her name was Jenny Ruby, and you still call her Susie, what's her name?
Jenny Ruby. My point in all of this is you've never actually been broken up with, so I'm not speaking to you on this. I'm speaking to the audience at large. Sometimes you're just so obsessed with a relationship that even though the other person doesn't want to be in a relationship / isn't in a relationship with you, like in Wayne's World where she brings him the gun rack and he's like, I don't even own a gun, let alone several guns that would constitute owning a gun rack. And she's like, if you're not careful, Wayne, you're going to lose me. He's like, I lost you 6 months ago when we broke up. That is Chris Christie with this whole presidential thing. America broke up with him a long time ago.
He just doesn't know it's over.
And he will not accept. He doesn't, America's like, I don't even own a gun, Chris, let alone several guns that would constitute owning a gun rack.
All right. Well, CNN's Dana Bash asked if he would work together with Nikki Haley to beat Donald Trump. And, his answer? Nope.
You want to be president, but your twin missions are that and to stop Donald Trump. In the most recent CNN New Hampshire poll, Donald Trump is winning by 42% of likely GOP voters. You are third behind Nikki Haley. Neither you nor Nikki Haley come close to challenging Trump on your own. But together, you have support of 34% of New Hampshire voters. Is there any scenario where you and Nikki Haley would somehow work together to try to consolidate that anti-Trump vote?
I think Governor Haley and I both have the same goal, and that is to be president of the United States. And I think we're showing great momentum in New Hampshire. We've been gaining over the last couple of weeks. I think we're going to continue to gain in that fight. And I think we're going to do very, very well in New Hampshire on January 23rd. And, this idea of people just doing math and adding up numbers, that's not the way voters vote. And so, I would say to everybody out there, let's let the campaign move forward.
He just wants to keep on going.
I'm such an ass. I refuse to work with anyone because I am me, Casey.
All right.
This guy. So it's one thing to say, and we've talked about this before. Hey, any person who believes in a country of 330 million people, you could do it better than 330 million other people. There's a certain like high level of narcissism that comes with that. And I'm saying this as presidential candidates we've liked, ones we don't like. There is a certain level of narcissism to think you can do anything better than 330 million people. But there's also then like a next level of narcissism where you simply say, not only could I do this better than anyone, I'm not interested in working with anyone in any shape, form, or fashion in order to reach some sort of goal, because the ultimate goal for Chris Christie is not to be president. He knows he's not going to be president. His ultimate goal is to burn Trump as many times as he can in order to secure some sort of future employment after this failed endeavor is done.
So he said this is the smallest Republican field at this stage in a century that did not include an incumbent. So he is sticking with it. He also came out yesterday and said that he would not sign a 6-week federal abortion ban as president because he doesn't believe that aligns with the views of the American public. He said that he personally opposes abortion, but he wouldn't sign a federal bill restricting the procedure.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing about how there's an old saying, art imitates life, and politics is basically dinner theater. We've talked about this before. So I have a little experience with this, Casey. I'm not necessarily proud of my past, as we've talked about. I mean, your past, it makes you who you are as a human being today. And so I will tell this story because, well, I have no shame. So when I was a younger man, I didn't exactly have the strong moral fiber that I do today. I was pursuing a member of the opposite sex, and there was another gentleman who was also pursuing said member of the opposite sex, and this woman wisely looked at the both of us and said, I'm not interested in either one of you. And she chose another guy. She chose number 3, and this person was far more successful and better in everything else than either one of us. And in hindsight, clearly this woman made the absolute right choice. However, when she chose this guy, the guy that I had previously had a long-standing feud with, much of it centering around said woman, messages me and says, you must do something to stop this. And I responded and said, why the hell do I have to do something to stop this? I have no interest in helping you, and I would rather neither one of us win, and she choose that guy than help you at all. And we both lost. And that is Chris Christie at this point. I'm going to lose. I recognize there is a better, in this case, the woman is the Republican primary voter, has chosen another guy. However, I am so self-absorbed and self-centered that I would rather watch you fail than have any chance of me ultimately succeeding.
He's like, oh, we're both going to go down rather than one of us win. Okay, well, he claims that his presidential campaign is gaining momentum.
Well, Trump's voters in New Hampshire said they are open to changing their minds between now and primary day on January 23rd. So, I know everybody wants to make this race over now. But it's not over, and it's not even close to over. And when you just look at the history, forget about predictions. Let's look at what's happened over time. And what's happened tells you that there's a long way to go here, and I like the fact that we're gaining momentum now.
What a long, strange trip it's been.
He's Lloyd Christmas. He's Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. What would you say are the chances of a guy like you and a girl like me getting together?
Right.
I'd say not good.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And he goes like not good, like 1 out of 100. She goes not good, like 1 out of 1,000,000. Yes. So you're saying these people are all so pathetic, aren't they, Casey?
He's going to hang in there until it's absolutely the very end.
Have you ever asked
What a colossal waste of money, by the way.
Well, it ain't his money, though. So, like, what's he care? Have you ever asked yourself this question? So think about, in this room, we have Officer Brad here with us, who is one of the finest, brightest, most bravest of society.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many, many other people like Officer Brad who are in the same line of work, who serve the great Hoosiers of the state of Indiana every single day. And you think of all the great people that we come in contact with, just in our little, largely meaningless existence in the world. And then you think about all of the great people who publicly do really great things that change and improve society and people's lives and all of the, et cetera. And of all the people we have to choose from to run our country, this is it. Like, these are the people.
Right, who step forward.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
That there are so many brave, wonderful, brilliant, exciting, innovative, just inspiring humans in this country, and it always ends up being these people. These are the people we have to choose from, Casey.
Yep, it is 17 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz. I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Hi, this is Denny Smith. The professionals at C&J Water are once again offering unbelievable discounts for you to upgrade your current system or to create that dream water setup. Buy any one item, get 5% off the total. Buy any 2 items, enjoy a generous 10% off the total. Buy any 3 or more items, get an incredible 15% off your total purchase. Act now and make your water system goals a reality with C&J. If they're local, they're exceptional, they're affordable. 317-733-SOFT or cnjwater.com.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple of weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Can you trust the government to protect you? We have political chaos, high inflation, global wars, no border protection, and our leadership telling you about pronouns in electric cars. It's time to take a hard look at protecting yourself and your family. It's time to call Oxford Gold Group. Whether you want to diversify against inflation or have gold on hand, you need to visit jessekellygold.com. Protect yourself with a visit to jessekellygold.com. That's jessekellygold.com.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Pierce Jewelers is Carmel's full-service jewelry store where all watch repair, jewelry repair, appraisals, or custom design is done in-house. See them at piercejewelers.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Mean guy.
And Casey Daniels.
She's the nicest person I've ever met.
On 93 WIBC.
21 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So this woman is going viral for listing qualities of her ideal man. This list is incredible and mostly impossible. I can't imagine anybody meeting her expectations.
Okay.
She says to me, a physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy man includes this list.
Oh.
And it's quite long.
I thought those were the things she wanted. I thought, well, that's not
No. This list is really long. And I thought it might be interesting if we review this impossible list to see if you agree or if you know anybody who would qualify for this.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. These are the things she wants or doesn't want. Doesn't vape, doesn't smoke weed, doesn't get vaxxed, doesn't watch porn, lifts weights weekly, prioritizes his sleep, eats lots of steak and eggs, doesn't drink tap water, doesn't use AirPods, would choose a podcast over music, cooks with butter, tallow, and EVOO, doesn't eat and drink out of plastic, uses fluoride-free toothpaste, doesn't douse himself in sunscreen, doesn't wear aluminum deodorant, wears 100% cotton underwear, doesn't trust the government, doesn't black out every weekend, utilizes cold plunging and the sauna, gets daily sunlight and grounding, knows birth control is poison, uses natural remedies when sick, has some type of daily spiritual practice, isn't stuck in a soul-sucking 9-to-5 job, has hobbies and passions in his life.
So basically, she wants Kevin.
You think that's what it is?
I think what you
Kevin,
wants,
are you doing cold plunging and a sauna?
I think what she wants is AI.
Yeah. So is there a photo of this chick?
Yes, there's many photos of her.
What's her name? Does it say what the broad's name is?
Her name is Savannah Vicario, Vicario.
Savannah Vicario. Oh, there we go. She is pulling up in the Google search. So let's see. Instagram. Let's see what we're looking at here.
She has a lot of followers.
Well, yeah. Okay, I'm sure she. Look, I mean, okay, so that's not worth that.
No. Too much high maintenance?
I mean, she lists herself as digital creator, health, wellness, life, spirituality. She doesn't have that many followers, I don't think.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting is you have a lot of women now saying he has to make $250,000 and putting a monetary stipulation out there. She doesn't mention anything about money or finances. It's just all about the lifestyle.
No, she's very into health, and there's a lot of things on her list which you would say those are very good and certainly noteworthy and something I think we should all strive to achieve for. However, there are some of them that are slightly bizarre.
And the list is very long, so I'm curious, is this a first date thing? Does she get out a checklist, or is this an overtime? Oh, I'm sorry, you use aluminum deodorant, we're done.
And I would be curious to ask her, because it doesn't say how old she is in any of these stories. I'd be curious to ask her how her actual dating life is going.
How are things going?
Have you found that unicorn, and how is that working out for you?
And doesn't use AirPods.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
She doesn't strike me as the sort of person where you would be like, honey, I would like to watch the ball game on Saturday, and she would be like, that's fine.
Yeah,
I think it might
you
be
go ahead and do your own thing.
A bit overbearing, and as what is your old saying? The juice is not
worth the squeeze.
Not worth the squeeze.
You think that's the case for her?
Well, I don't notice people's appearances, Casey. So I find people interesting, don't you? I mean, like what planet are you living on where you think you are worthy of making that many demands on
somebody else?
It's one thing to say, hey, someone with a great relationship with the Lord who puts God first is the top priority to me. Hey, perfect. No problem. Somebody who engages in a strong importance when it comes to family is a priority to me. Fine, perfect. But when you start getting into what type of deodorant somebody uses or the cups they use, it is like, good grief, woman, lady, AI, whatever you might be, you need to check yourself.
It is 26 minutes after 9, and it's time for the All Around Indiana segment.
Oh?
By popular demand. You recall yesterday's. You loved it so much. We have 61 to go, Rob.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we're doing these Holcomb ads, right?
And you thought I was kidding.
Oh, you're actually going to play? You're going to... Well, I'm not going to be here for the half of December, so you do whatever you want then. So you are actually going to play an Eric Holcomb ad every single day.
Possibly. This segment featuring the voiceover stylings of Eric Holcomb. Okay, so today, since 1967, the Pacers have been a part of the Hoosier culture, bringing the prestige of professional basketball to Indy's home court. This one is called Hoosier Basketball with the Indiana Pacers.
Basketball is more than just a sport in Indiana. It's part of what makes us Hoosiers. From high school tournaments to college rivalries, we grow up on the court, shooting hoops, catching games, and cheering on our beloved Indiana Pacers. Back in the 60s, the Pacers played for the ABA, where they won 3 championships and captured the heart of our city, building a loyal fan base that followed them to the NBA in 1976. Since then, some of the greatest names in the game have worn the Pacers blue and gold and turned Gainbridge Fieldhouse into an arena of legends, where we fill the stands, decked out in our game day finest and ready to yell ourselves hoarse over the perfect winning shot, because we grow basketball here.
That make you want to go see a game?
Well, I love the fact that so let's just point out the obvious here. There's never been fewer people going to high school basketball in Indiana than there is right now because of the IHSAA gutting single class basketball. You go to a game, unless there is some superstar prospect playing, it's a spattering of people in the stands. Big school, small school, generally doesn't matter. People simply don't care. Pacers games, depends on what the game is. Hey, if it's Steph Curry and the Warriors or LeBron
visiting.
and the Lakers, you're going to probably sell the place out. If not, it's probably 7 to 8 large in, by the way, a taxpayer-funded stadium that we as taxpayers by force, because I guess the fact that since the Simons are one of the richest families in the world, they couldn't pay for their own stadium. You know what he's doing? He's playing government at this point. Like it is his version of fantasy camp. And because he really likes basketball, he being Eric Holcomb, is using other people's money, billions of dollars in this case, as the governor of the state, to go to fantasy camp. And because he likes basketball, that's what he's doing.
All right, we've got 60 more to go.
How about that? And I will address every single one of these ads with the same negativity I've addressed the first 2 with. How about that?
Kurt Darling is next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad that those arch supports are in my shoes. I have terrible foot issues that prevented me from really having a normal life with my kids. With the Good Feet arch supports, man, I'm always ready. My kids actually got to enjoy me in the yard more, racing each other, backpedaling, teaching them some things, being a dad. If I had known about the Good Feet arch support earlier, I would have more than one championship. I would have 2 championship rings.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We're in your neighborhood. Visit goodfeet.com to find the location nearest to you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Still being released. Radar is clear. It's mostly sunny and 27 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. 12 more hostages have been released by Hamas as part of the extended ceasefire deal with Israel. In exchange, 30 Palestinian detainees were released from Israeli prisons. It's hoped that more swaps are on the horizon, even as both sides are claiming that there have been violations of the ceasefire agreement.
Looking at the next couple of days, we'll be focused on doing what we can to extend the pause so that we can continue to get more hostages out and more humanitarian assistance in.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. A person killed in Japan when an Osprey aircraft crashed. It was a U.S. military Osprey that went down over the sea off of the coast of western Japan. There were 6 crew members on board the aircraft that can take off like a helicopter but can then rotate its engines to fly like an airplane. Getting closer to the start of the presidential primary.
Those Iowa caucus is less than 2 months away now. We're talking mid-January. Donald Trump still has a commanding lead in polling over the rest of the field. He's got a nearly 30-point lead in Iowa, followed by former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who are both polling at about 16%.
Fox's Bill Malugin. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We're in the green to start the day. The Dow is up 98 to 35,543. The Nasdaq also up 98 to 16,146. And the S&P 500 is up 21 to 4,584. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hellsberg Diamonds presents Great Wedding Speeches.
Put your hands together for the father of the bride.
Kara, honey. Boy, am I proud of the woman you've become. And Craig, my man, my broseph. When Kara first introduced us to Craig, boy, I knew he was the one right away. He tells the greatest jokes, he smokes a killer brisket, and, he knows what team to root for, don't you, buddy? Whoop, whoop. So, when he proposed to Kara, with that awesome ring from Hellsberg Diamonds, boy, we couldn't say yes fast enough, could we, honey?
That's right.
Lab-grown diamond, emerald cut, big sparkle. It's a great ring, picked out by a great guy. He's like the son I've never had.
But Dad, I'm your son, Donnie.
Oh, right. Well, you're great too, Johnny.
For over 100 years, Hellsberg Diamonds has been customizing engagement rings of the highest quality. To learn more about our great selection and transparent pricing, visit our experts at a Hellsberg store near you or at hellsberg.com.
Bring it in, Broheim.
911, what's your emergency?
Por favor, necesito ayuda. Está hablando y creo que me va a pegar otra vez.
I will get someone to speak with you. Please stay on the line.
Hola, tengo su ubicación. Ayuda está en camino.
Getting past a language barrier is critical when first responders help Hoosiers. That's why the State 911 Board provides special tools for non-English speaking citizens to communicate with emergency services.
Si estás en peligro, aunque no hables inglés, podrás recibir ayuda en una emergencia rápidamente.
All Indiana 911 centers began offering translation services in over 240 languages in 2019. Now, people can send text messages for help in their native language to 911 and receive a translated text back from the dispatcher. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations.
Cuando llame o envíe un texto al 911, un servicio de traducción se asegurará que entiendan lo que está diciendo.
For more information, visit in911.net.
Gracias.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
At Absolute Wealth Management, LLC, we understand that your retirement and taxes are inseparable. And if you're over 50, we're offering a special deal to kickstart your financial journey in 2024. You can have your 2023 tax return prepared and filed, including Schedules A, B, and D, for just $79.95. This can be the start of a lifelong profitable partnership with Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. All our retirement planning clients will continue to receive the substantial discount for tax filing and preparation as part of our ongoing retirement marathon that focuses on protecting everything you've worked so hard to build while still providing growth to help elevate your lifestyle in retirement. Take absolute control of your retirement. Call us now at 317-288-0634, 317-288-0634, or visit AbsoluteWealthManagementLLC.com. Investment advisory services offered through Gradient Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Gradient Advisors LLC and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting advice.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 9:35 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. He's polling at 28%. So that's not very good.
Well, it depends on how many people are running and what he's running for.
This is just where he's currently at on the favorability, likability scale.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, that's not good. So we're talking out of 100, by the way, 28%.
Okay.
So that's really not good.
Yeah, because Trump became president or became the Republican nominee for president, polling at about 28%.
Well, this guy's already in office, and people aren't liking him or what he's doing. We're talking about the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
He's only been there like 3 weeks.
Exactly, and he's getting a 28% rating.
So this guy is a total maniac leftist. Beat Lori Lightfoot, because she is also, while a total maniac leftist, also one of the most unlikable people to ever walk the face of the earth, and did a horrible job during COVID. She did a horrible job during the riots. I mean, the violence and stuff remains out of control in Chicago. So Chicago's response to this, in very Chicago fashion, was not, well, we better just fully reverse course. They said, let's get somebody even
more extreme.
Yeah, more extreme than the failure that was just in there. And it's shocking, Casey. It's not working out well for them.
Okay, so he announced a new initiative to move migrants out of police stations and into churches. And they're setting up this large tent camp for asylum seekers. It's going to be in the Brighton Park neighborhood. So isn't that just so typical? Claim you're a sanctuary city, invite all the people to come, and then when the people do come, say, oh gosh, we can't handle it, and then rely on churches and other people to give money to take care of the problem.
We have a mutual friend who is intricately familiar with border operations. And we recently had a conversation with this person. In fact, he's going to be working overtime down there over the Christmas holiday, and will hopefully have all sorts of on-the-ground information to give to us about things that person is seeing. But he has people who work under him who have been at the border, and he is manning up over Christmas and saying, I will take control of this. And he was telling us about how awful it actually is, and the things that people are reporting back to him that they are seeing. And make no mistake, and everybody down there knows that is in law enforcement down there, these people are doing this, these people, the illegals coming to the country, because they believe Biden will let them in. They believe that they will ultimately get citizenship. They believe that they will be welcomed here and have the red carpet rolled out for them. I mean, this guy was telling us about children dying in the Rio Grande, the rivers, and I mean, just people getting run over by trains. And the media either doesn't know or is not reporting just how horrific the situation actually is down there. And so it's going to be very fascinating to get reports from this person and their first-hand accounts. I'll be on vacation, but you, however, will be here working and can tell a lot of those stories. But it's happening. These things are happening because Joe Biden and the Biden administration made it abundantly clear to these people, we want you to come.
Yep. And there's been a lot of violence in Chicago, especially over the Thanksgiving weekend. And who does the mayor say is responsible for this?
Oh, is it Beetlejuice? Did he say the previous mayor is responsible for this?
No, he's not pulling a Karine Jean-Pierre and blaming the previous administration.
Did he put it on Joe Biden for essentially inviting illegal immigrants to flood into the country?
No, wrong again.
Okay, well, who could it be, Casey?
You know what the problem is?
Woo.
Right-wing extremists.
Well, of course, Casey.
Yeah, okay, he's blaming them for all of Chicago's problems. He says Republicans are mad, get this, that black people are free.
Well, it has to be better coordination. You know, what we've seen is a very raggedy form instituted by right-wing extremism. Everyone knows that the right-wing extremism in this country has targeted democratically ran cities. And quite frankly, they've been very intentional about going after democratically ran cities that are led by people of color. And their whole motivation is to create disruption and chaos, because that's what that particular party has been about. Right? This is the same political party that did not want to accept that President Obama was actually an American. It's the same Republican right-wing extremism that stormed the Capitol. It's the same right-wing extremism that refuses to accept the results of the Civil War. It's raggedy. It's disrespectful. It's mean-spirited. It's an unclean spirit, quite frankly. And
Okay.
so
instead of taking responsibility for failed liberal policies, he's claiming Chicago was targeted by Republicans. And make no mistake, Chicago hasn't had a Republican mayor since 1931.
Yeah,
since before the Great Depression.
Yeah, Hoover was president.
Mhm.
So that I think the most obviously this guy is an idiot and he's just a total liar and he's just a carnival barker. But I think the bigger concern is you can't have a rational conversation with a person like that. You can't come to a reasonable conclusion with a person like that. You can't work with a person like that to institute things that will make the conditions better. Like there's when Abdul was running for mayor, people said, well, how can you support Abdul? He's super liberal. Well, Abdul would have been great on the issue that mattered most, which is crime and violence. You ever hear Abdul talk? He's not screwing around with that. That's the number one thing the mayor has control over in a major metropolitan city. Abdul would not screw around with things like illegal immigration. So I said, I have a game of reasonable expectations on what an office holder can do and can accomplish. And so someone who might be otherwise more liberal than I am politically okay with, if in the confines of their job, they're good at the things or willing to do the things that actually they have power and purview over. In this case, it is illegal immigration or dealing with illegal immigrants or crime and violence. I'm willing to accept someone who I don't agree with on the other things. But this guy, there's no way to even work with this guy. There's no even way to even work with that. There's no way to come together. There's no way to form a consensus on anything when you hear just complete incoherent psychobabble like what you just heard.
And it's another one of our great American cities that are just crumbling right in front of our eyes.
And who is not accepting the outcome of the Civil War? Who are these people? Who in the city of Chicago is running around going, South won? Who? Who are these people?
Okay, let's talk about Charlie Munger, this investing guy. He's Warren Buffett's right-hand man. Yeah. He passed away at the age of 99. So this is kind of like, he's Robin, to Warren Buffett's Batman.
If you study great investors or businessmen throughout American history, one of the things that you will realize is very often, on almost every occasion, they had someone who, while they didn't garner the spotlight like they did, because often one of the keys to great business is being able to be a showman, a provocateur, someone who captures the imagination, somebody who convinces others to part with their money, and then you take that money and make money off of it. There was somebody behind the scenes who was a nuts and bolts type guy, a consigliere, if you want to use a mafia term, who was the rock solid advice guy, a steady hand, a reliable person that the Wizard of Oz, the guy in front of the curtain, the great and powerful Oz, could consult with. And it seems like Charlie Munger was in many ways that guy for Warren Buffett.
He had a fortune of $2.3 billion.
Yeah. That's pretty well. That's a lot of money. That's more than we're making here, Casey.
It is. It's 9:44. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Mike Braun released his Freedom and Opportunity Agenda. And we're finally going to get around to talking about it next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the latest on the hostage situation in Israel, and California and Michigan have made a declaration. You don't get to move about freely. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Have you heard? The Xfinity Mobile Black Friday sale is on now. Don't miss out on a free line of unlimited for 2 years when you switch to Xfinity Internet. That's over $1,000 in savings. Plus, see how to get up to $800 off an eligible 5G phone. Join the millions who have switched to one of the fastest growing mobile services. Now through December 5th, new customers can get a free line of unlimited intro mobile for 2 years with Xfinity Fast Internet. Plus, see how you can save even more with up to $800 off the latest 5G phones. It's your chance to get connected to the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. This offer won't last. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today.
Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply to service and devices. Actual internet speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced mobile speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
Do you get sinus infections? Congestion? Sinus pressure and pain? Above your eyes? Below your eyes? Sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You've visited urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing. Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
The program begins in summer of 2024. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Get ready, Indiana. It's Medicare annual enrollment period. So why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Indiana, trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Good morning. It is 9:48. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Mike Braun running for governor in the great state of Indiana, and he has released his wide-ranging freedom and opportunity agenda. It's a template for his policy proposals, but he's being clear, not specific.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to guess, Casey.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You know I'm an eternal optimist.
Mm-hmm.
It's what is it called? The freedom and something agenda?
Freedom and opportunity.
So I'm going to guess the number one thing on the freedom and opportunity agenda, you tell me if I'm wrong here, is that he is going to repeal the largest tax increase in state history that he voted for as a member of the Indiana General Assembly that goes up every year, which unfairly punishes poor and middle class people and hinders progress and the ability to work and go to work, which is the tax on gas. Number one. It's got to be number one, right?
No.
Oh.
Not number one.
Dang.
No, he does talk about how he wants to work with the education system.
He wants to work with them.
Well, it's a big priority for him.
Okay.
He said he wants parents to be at the forefront of what they think is important for their kids. And anything that he's learned is that a federal solution isn't the solution.
Okay. Well, so Casey, I was off on the, in fact, is the anywhere on the gas to talk about repealing the largest tax increase in state history that Mike Braun voted for? Anywhere. Is that anywhere on his freedom agenda?
He does talk about healthcare issues.
No. Wait. Let's one at a time here.
Okay.
So there's nothing. He's not at all. No mea culpa. No, I'm sorry for voting for the largest tax increase in state history. I'm sorry for punishing middle-class people. I'm sorry for making it markedly more expensive for you to go to work and provide for your family. Nothing on there about that.
I'm looking, Rob.
Yeah, I think you would have seen it.
No, okay. I don't see it.
All right. Maybe that was just a slight of, just a slip of the mind. There's got to be, Casey. There's got to be a concrete plan to address property taxes, which is punishing every single, because what's the name of the agenda here? What's the
freedom and opportunity?
Freedom and opportunity. So, I mean, for a guy who's for freedom and opportunity, the biggest freedom you should have is to own your own home, and for the government not to have a forever lien on your home, and that you get punished every single year and have to pay more of your money, which is, as we've talked about many times now, essentially flushing people out of their home. There's got to be freedom and opportunity. There's got to be, on the freedom and opportunity agenda, a plan to address property taxes to give people the freedom to own their own home.
Well, would you like to hear from him in his own words?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Freedom and opportunity from Mike Braun.
The lockdowns during the COVID-19 pandemic were a disaster for our state and led to business closures, job losses, mental health issues, learning loss, and still failed to protect the most vulnerable. As governor, I will never lock down our state, mandate masks for our kids, or tell someone their job or business is not essential. And I will always protect a Hoosier's right to medical freedom.
I didn't hear anything about.
Okay, and so the guy who committed the legalized bribery, I mean, it was legal, right? I mean, if somebody else did this, they might get in big trouble, but he's in the government, so he's protected. So the guy who supported the legalized bribery of getting the governor to shut the state down, Mike Braun voted to give the states money, trillions of dollars, to shut their states down. He's now suddenly very upset over the idea of the state being shut down, and he would never do the thing that he approved giving money to our governor to do. Did I process all that correctly?
You got it.
Why is this guy a thing? I mean, I get that he's super rich and he bought a Senate seat. But why is this guy a front runner? Why is anybody giving this guy any credence? Why is anybody giving this disingenuous person the time of day? Okay, and why am I the only person? Why are we the only people pointing this crap out on this guy? Why do Republicans see this stuff and just lap it up like seals instead of asking the same questions that we're asking? You're totally disingenuous, Mike Braun. You voted to allow federal printed money to come to the state of Indiana so that Eric Holcomb could do all the things that you claim that you hate that he did. Why are we the only people calling him out on this? If you are a Republican primary voter, why is no one getting in this guy's grill legally and peacefully at these Lincoln days or these breakfasts and demanding answers to this?
Okay, so when asked about his opponents or his congressional record, which you were talking about, he said that none of his competitors have much of a record at all. Aside from breaking Senate ties, Suzanne Crouch, which she was in the position to do. Nobody else has won elected office. He mentioned Eric Doden or Brad Chambers.
Well, that's not true. Curtis Hill was an elected official.
And he said Curtis Hill didn't cast votes as the state's attorney general.
So Mike Braun did cast votes. So great. So he opened the door. So we have to walk right through that, right? If he's going to talk about his voting record, the reality of Mike Braun's voting record. And by the way, Mike, if you'd like to discuss this, we will give you as much time as you would like to tell us where we're wrong on this. The voting record of Mike Braun in the short time he was in the General Assembly was he voted in 2017 to raise more than 40 taxes, including the largest tax increase in Indiana state history. It was also at the time the largest growth of government in Indiana state history. He voted for that. And then as a United States Senator, voted to send trillions of dollars to the states, including Indiana, to make it possible for Eric Holcomb to lock down the state and do the mask mandates and close the businesses and put 1 million people out of work. That is the voting record of Mike Braun. Thank you. I'm glad he wanted to talk about his voting record.
He said that governing in Indiana requires a lot of collaboration, especially with the General Assembly, which holds the purse strings, and that he wanted to make sure we make our government a little leaner and go through every agency.
A little leaner.
Just a little. So what? It's a smidge.
So of whatever it is, $44.5 billion budget. Does a little leaner mean we're cutting $2 million? Does it mean we're cutting $3 million? Does it mean $3 billion?
We're going to be clear, not specific. Yeah. Remember that? He wants to go through every agency to make sure it's running as efficiently.
He doesn't know
as a business.
He wants to be the governor, and what is he? It's like Nancy Pelosi. You'll have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. You'll have to vote for Mike Braun to find out what he's willing to cut. Why do people fall for this, Casey? Why do people? It's both parties, and it's time and time again. Mike Braun, he's for me. What in Mike Braun's past would make you think as a legislator that he is for you?
Okay, so he claims that he didn't raise health premiums for 15 years when he had his own company. And when it comes to the state's budget, 50% of the state's budget is education, and his approach is to add competition and choice.
But he did. Okay, what was the thing about the health insurance, what'd you say?
That he didn't raise premiums for his own employees.
But he did repeatedly raise premiums for the 7 million people in the state of Indiana. I don't know how many people drive cars. Let's say it's 4 million. He did add premiums to 4 million people. And unlike people who are working for your company who had the ability to opt out and go somewhere else if they didn't like your policies as a business owner, I, as a taxpayer, don't have the ability to opt out on your never-ending gas tax increase.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up in just a little bit, a crazy scam that Brad Kloppensteinstein went through, and a warning for you. Stick around for it. It's coming up on 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's the season of thankfulness, and I'm really thankful for the talented professionals at ZeroRez who've kept my floors and ductwork so very clean this year. The whole family can see how our carpets and floors have remained clean and fresh month after month. The ZeroRez service is easy to line up, and you can go online at zeroresindy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Here's the thing. There's no licensing to be a professional carpet cleaner, and the marketplace is full of incompetent people with lousy products. But not the folks at ZeroRez, who are literally the best of the best. Get your home ready for the holidays and get ZeroRez for you and your family. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139. Plus you'll get $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help improve the air quality in your home, help reduce your energy costs, and it'll help you just breathe easier. Schedule your appointment online at zeroresindy.com.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what IMPD believes happened that led to a fatal shooting, plus an update coming soon in the case of a missing teenager in Rush County. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock. More emotional family reunions will soon happen in Israel.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. On day 6 of the ceasefire in Gaza,
Israel has a list of 12 hostages that are set to be freed by Hamas later today. It includes 10 Israeli women and 2 women who hold dual citizenship in Israel and Russia. This is believed to be a gesture to Russian President Vladimir Putin, and it comes after a 5th consecutive prisoner hostage exchange last night.
Fox's Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken's in Brussels. He says talks are ongoing to extend the ceasefire again beyond the day to also allow more humanitarian aid to flow into Gaza. He's at NATO headquarters, also focused on Ukraine.
Ensuring that Russia's war of aggression remains a strategic failure is as vital today as when the Kremlin launched that war almost 2 years ago.
President Biden and Senate Democrats are pushing to bundle a military aid package to Israel and Ukraine.
Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas is one of the Republicans who's more open to passing the package as a whole if border demands are met.
This really may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have the leverage to actually secure the border.
Democrats have been critical of certain GOP proposals, like renewing border wall construction.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz, all that amid demands because of another surge of migrants crossing illegally today. The head of Homeland Security goes to Texas. Many migrants have ended up in cities like New York and Chicago, where it's cold now, and Fox's Garrett Tenney reports.
17 churches taking part in a new initiative to provide temporary housing, food, and social services to migrants. And the 1,000 of those migrants are still sleeping either outside on the streets in tents or on the floor in the lobbies of police stations across Chicago.
There's a search at sea near Japan where a U.S. military Osprey aircraft crashed. At least one of the 6 crew members on board has been found dead. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It ends with gunshots. Radar is clear, 30 degrees and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A fatal shooting on the southwest side of Indy early this morning. IMPD says a fight happened at a home along Holt Road near Kentucky Avenue. A third person then got involved and fired shots.
Currently, IMPD is not actively looking for anyone else involved in this incident. We believe we have everybody identified.
IMPD officer Simone Burris says a teenager has been detained. Valerie Tyndall has been missing since June. She was last seen in a community just northwest of Rushville. On Tuesday, the FBI and Rush County deputies were searching a home of a man who last saw Valerie alive. Patrick Scott is already charged with lying to police in the case. The feds and the sheriff will share more details about the case later this afternoon at around 2 o'clock. He posted a video of himself threatening to kill the assistant principal.
Zionsville Community High School kicked Jacob Collier out of school several months ago, but then allowed him to finish his classes online. He felt that wasn't good enough and apparently wanted to come back and take classes in person. The school denied that request, and that's when Collier's legal problems started. Cops say on October 24th, he sent a Snapchat message threatening to kill the assistant principal. That's a felony, and that's why Collier will be in front of a judge soon. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
It was snow yesterday, rain tomorrow, says Andrew White with the National Weather Service.
Generally, we're expecting between about a ½ inch and a 3/4 inch across the state. Highest amounts are going to be closer to the Terre Haute area.
He says the state is still in a drought, and so not enough rain will fall to make a huge impact, but he says every little bit helps. The Colts are expected to be without Jonathan Taylor for a while. The team says that Taylor is slated to undergo thumb surgery today in Los Angeles. Taylor was injured in the Colts win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. He's expected to miss at least 2 weeks. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, Hammer, over here, pay attention. Did you hear about Bill Dennery, our retirement guy? We're both customers of Bill's. He's helping Indy residents add an instant 13% bonus on top of the retirement savings.
So if my Beech Grove High School education is correct, every $100 gets you an extra $13 more, right?
Yep, and it adds up. You can get $13,000 for every $100,000.
That's a pretty solid bonus.
Yeah.
I can take that. That's good.
I mean, it is, and you get an extremely competitive return year after year. Over the last 10 years, it's been anywhere like it's been like 7%, and backed by one of the world's largest insurance companies.
And I guess that's why Indy calls Bill Demery your retirement guy. So if you're listening right now and you want a 13% bonus What should people do?
Call Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. But it may not last long, so call 317-648-5120.
Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 29th. It is 5 minutes after 10 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up in just a bit, we're going to talk with Brad Kloppenstein, and he's going to warn us of a scam that's going on, and you need to be on guard for this.
What an elaborate little thing that's going on here in central Indiana. So if you have especially if you have an older loved one or, somebody who, may be easily seduced, in some shape, form, or fashion.
Maybe somebody a little naive or gullible.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's coming up next. Hey, by the way, good news, Casey.
What's that?
All thanks to you. I want to give you full credit on this because now you are a co-conspirator. You found you found envelopes.
I did.
And not only did you find the envelope, you addressed the outside of the envelope and you took the letter and you put it in the envelope. So now you are completely in cahoots with me on this. And whatever happens to me, you're going down too.
Great.
Opening segment, I wrote a letter to Todd Rokita.
Which we're going to share with everybody coming up.
Yeah, about him coming on our show. Clearly, even though we know he listens, they've admitted he listens. He references specific things that we say on our show. They have not responded to our invite for him to come on the show. So we wrote a very nice letter. You've read the letter. We're very professional.
Yep.
Thought it got kind of to the core of some of the issues.
Yeah.
And so we're going to walk that over, I think, to the State House, hopefully after our show later today. And we're going to just drop it off there. And maybe Todd will be in the office and maybe he wants to just come out and chat with us. But at the very least, some nice person manning the desk is going to have just a thrill of a lifetime, Casey.
You mentioned that you couldn't find an envelope to put this letter in. And I found it in the first place I looked.
Oh, wow.
And it even has the WIBC return address already pre-printed on it.
Pretty wild.
So
yeah, and you have wonderful handwriting, by the way.
It was nice, wasn't it? We did a great job with this letter. We make a good team.
So we will read that letter, and next hour I know Todd could be in a lot more hot water over flapping his gums, and it appears the Supreme Court might not be overly happy with Todd's total lack of self-control. So we'll get into that here in a little bit.
All right. First, let's talk about President Biden. He's going to attend the first big Hollywood fundraiser of his re-election campaign. This is coming up next month, and it's going to be co-hosted by a few people you may have heard of. One being Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
The other, the actor-director Rob Reiner. Tickets for the event can go for as much as $500,000.
How much?
$500,000. $500,000.
Can you imagine paying 5 cents to go see Joe Biden, much less $500,000? And Casey, like when Obama was president and did a fundraiser, those people were super giddy. Oh, it's only $500,000. Put me down for 3 people. With Biden, those people are like, oh my gosh, I want to be anywhere but around this guy. But I gotta. Can you imagine hanging out in a social setting with Joe Biden?
What's he going to say? I mean, the guy, unless he's got his note cards in front of him telling him what to say and who to talk to.
That's crazy that somebody
Is he even going to know he's there?
That's crazy somebody would pay that amount of money to meet anyone, much less a guy who may not be able to form coherent sentences or 2 minutes after he met you, remember your name.
First Lady's going to be there. She's going to headline actually multiple Hollywood fundraisers over the summer and early fall.
It's wild he's doing Hollywood, though, because I thought the Democrats were for the little guy, Casey. I thought they were for the working class.
So these ticket prices, they really make you think that this is just for the average person that can go. So tickets for this event cost $1,000 per person. This is the base level. And then if you want a photo with him.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, the photo. $25,000 per ticket. And if you want to be listed as a co-chair of the event,
you got to be
$500,000. So this is something for everyone.
So when Trump was running in 2016, he did some event in Evansville. And I think the high end on that was $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right after I had interviewed Trump, or shortly after. I'm trying to remember. This has been 7 going on 8 years now. And I think $100,000 was the, hey, you get the meal and you get in with the rich people and you get a photo with Trump. And so we were trying at the time to put a value on. Did you know I interviewed the president one time?
I heard that. It was a great dream.
His words, not mine.
Yeah.
And that I knew what was going on and that it was terrific and that he wished every interview could be just like that. So based on you paying $100,000 to get a photo and some chicken with the president, we were trying to put a monetary value on what my actual encounter with Trump, when you include the pre-interview, the interview, and then the chit-chat afterwards, and the now iconic photo of Trump and I together. And look at how happy he looks in that photo. He didn't have to do that. He didn't get any money from me. He was genuinely happy to be around me. And why wouldn't he genuinely be happy around me, to be around me, Casey? We were trying to put a monetary value on what that experience was worth. And we came up with $1.3 billion.
Wow. Really? You think? Okay, so Spielberg gave a lot of money in 2020 to Biden. And of course, he donated $250,000 to the Biden Victory Fund. And it looks like he's doing it again. Let's talk. You mentioned Donald Trump. So let's talk about what's going on. Did you see that the Black Lives Matter Rhode Island co-founder?
I saw this.
This guy's name is Mark Fisher. He says that he's supporting Donald Trump for the 24 election because Democrats are not for us.
I think personally it's the duplicity of the Democrats, the hypocrisy. We're not stupid. The brothers are not stupid. We understand when someone's for us and when someone is not. And it's obvious that the Democratic Party is not for us.
Yeah, I can't.
Their policies actually strike at the heart of the black family and the nuclear family.
Yeah, so, you were a part of Black Lives Matter. You founded it there. And now you're saying, you're not saying the entire Republican Party. You're saying Donald Trump. So what is it about Donald Trump? Is it the economics? You noted the black family. What is it going to take for him to shore up this support amongst black voters?
Well, I just think that it's going to take information. A lot of people are misinformed. They don't really understand because they don't educate themselves on Donald Trump as a person and his history. But if they do that, and it's going to take, leaders, educated leaders, getting the word out there, I think that it'll happen on its own. And it'll be organic because personally, I love the man. I mean, how could you not if a real man, how could you not relate to someone like that?
Okay, so I did not have this on my bingo card for this year.
Well, if you remember when there's this now famous video when he was arraigned in Atlanta of him leaving going, I assume, back to the airport, and he goes through what appears to be a pretty rough neighborhood outside of Atlanta or in Atlanta, and there is just a line and it's all black people that are there, and they are cheering for him. They're not cheering that he was arrested. They're cheering because Donald Trump was driving by. And Trump made huge inroads with the black community in 2020. And it appears, if you believe the polling, which it's pretty consistent, he is going to make major gains again, far better than any Republican presidential candidate in recent memory has done with the black community, because Donald Trump, for whatever you want to say for him, did a lot of things to embolden and uplift and empower the black community to start thinking and fending for themselves and realizing that the government is not your friend, and the government in many ways has demoralized you, dehumanized you, belittled you, and you have the power to make your own life better. And Trump did a lot of things to put that at the forefront.
Okay, now I'm going to throw out 2 names, and I want you to just say, hey, do you think that they are more conservative or more liberal?
Okay, very good. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Bill Maher and Oliver Stone.
Super liberal both.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you think, right? But here they are saying that the media dumped on Trump too much.
This was the most fair, well-run election that we've had ever.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, if there's nothing that can be said or argued that would convince you,
I think what shocked people was
then
that
it's called a closed
Trump
mind.
was got so many votes. You know, that was what was shocking, that he did so well compared to what he was expected to do.
Right.
Because we believed
then
all
why don't
the
you believe
East
he
Coast,
could have lost?
We believed all the East Coast, the media elite, that he was going to fail, and boom.
Yes.
They were wrong. We would love to see them being wrong, don't we? The media elite. Because they really
they're wrong
hated.
a lot,
They went too far in hating, in dumping on Trump, and people don't like that in America.
You're right.
They don't like dumping on.
You're right.
And they did it too much.
This just tells you how far to the left that the modern day Democrats have gone. When traditional Dems like Maher and Oliver Stone don't agree with their own party.
Yeah, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, Kloppenstein is going to join us. He was privy to something or a part of an attempted scam yesterday. He posted about it on social media. I messaged him. I said, we got to tell our listeners about this because it's a real elaborate scam. It's actually being pretty well done. And if you don't have somebody who kind of knows what's going on and knows what to look for and ask, these people come off pretty convincing.
All right, it's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved a 50-year-old couple over $300 per month when compared to their old individual plan. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 per month when compared to their quote on healthcare.gov. We are now entering the crazy enrollment season when our federal government will spend millions telling us that healthcare.gov is our only good option for quality health care. Whether it's called healthcare.gov, Affordable Care Act, or it's still Obamacare, don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Give us a call at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Quoting the great Dr. Duke Tomato, Lord, please help our cults. And as always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally, family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Can you trust the government to protect you? We have political chaos, high inflation, global wars, no border protection, and our leadership telling you about pronouns and electric cars. It's time to take a hard look at protecting yourself and your family. It's time to call Oxford Gold Group. Whether you want to diversify against inflation or have gold on hand, you need to visit jessekellygold.com. Protect yourself with a visit to jessekellygold.com. That's jessekellygold.com.
Downtown Indy, dressed in holiday style and adorned with bright lights and holiday sights all season long. Where friends visit Monument Circle with its festive lighting, audio, and video presentations every night of the week. Make new memories while enjoying award-winning restaurants just steps away from your favorite attractions, sporting events, and performances. Come winter wander in downtown. Come for an event, stay for a holiday experience. Go to downtownindy.org/holiday happenings for all the info.
Extended Black Friday. Up to 52% off all products, plus 10% in manufacturer rebates. For a limited time only, go to bwindow.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Early in the morning, factory whistle blows, then rises from bed and puts
93 WIBC. This is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. And Casey, one of the things we do on this show, Well, we provide public service.
Yes.
I mean, and it's every day that we do this, but there's various shapes and forms and fashions we provide the public service. And one of them is to alert the community when potential scamming and scheming type of operations are going on.
Yes.
And there's a big one out there apparently now, and they almost got one of WIBC's own. So pay big attention to this next segment. It could save you or someone you love. He joins us now here on the WIBC hotline. Brad Kloppenstein. Brad, hello.
Rob, Casey, good morning.
All right, so I read this post you made on social media yesterday, and I said we have to talk about this because there's a good chance it's not just you they were trying to get. There are people posing as law enforcement trying to extract money from the community.
I am shocked by this, Rob.
What happened? Tell us.
So I was having lunch with Jim Merritt yesterday, obviously a frequent guest on your show, so we were over at the Plucky Sidekick Lounge.
You were at the where?
The Plucky Sidekick Lounge. Don't you know?
Sounds right.
All the WIBC, part-timers and fill-ins, there's a lounge, and we all hang out there. So it's me and Merritt and Tony Kinnett and Ethan Hatcher and Spanglish.
Okay, so
Terry Stacey comes in.
You're having lunch at the Plucky Sidekick Lounge. What happened?
Yes. So Jim Merritt's phone starts ringing. It's a number that says Cicero, Indiana. And he picks it up, and you can tell pretty quickly there's something going on. I couldn't quite tell what it was. And so I was like, Jim, put this phone on speaker. So I'm listening, and it is some guy who is identifying himself as Lieutenant Leonard of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department.
Oh, no.
Yes.
And Jim was probably very surprised because we all know, Casey, Jim is above reproach, never had a speeding ticket, never likely even had a drop of alcohol. He was probably just amiss that law enforcement would be calling him.
So Jim Merritt is much nicer and more respectful of law enforcement than I am. But anyhow, so this goes on. It sounds legit. I mean, he's like, hey, he goes, yeah, Mr. Merritt, you received a summons for jury duty in a federal court, and you didn't show up for the trial, and there's now a warrant out for your arrest.
Oh, no.
Exactly. And Jim's like, listen, I take these things very seriously. I'm a former state senator.
Sure.
I want to get this taken care of. And the guy's like,
So Brad, Jim is believing at this point that he legitimately may be on the run from the law. He may be a real life Harrison Ford.
Exactly. So he's slightly skeptical, less skeptical than I was, but he's taking this seriously. And, and this guy keeps talking, and Jim's like, listen, can I come in and, talk to the clerk of the court? And we need to get this taken care of. And this guy is continuing to go on. He's like, well, there's a warrant out for your arrest now, and that needs to probably be taken care of first because this is just a courtesy call. And Jim's like, well, when was this? And the guy's like, well, it was a trial on November 13th. It was in Judge Tanya Pratt's court in the Southern District of Indiana.
Is that a real person, Brad?
That's a real judge.
Oh, no.
So,
okay.
He is quoting real things. And, this guy sounds just like me and you and very, he sounds like he could be from around here. I think he probably is.
Okay.
But anyhow, so this call goes on, and I'm getting more and more skeptical. And Jim keeps saying, I want to get this taken care of. Can I meet with somebody? And the guy on the phone saying, listen, there's 3 warrants against you for $500 each.
Oh, no.
We can get these taken care of. And so anyhow, this goes on for
So he wanted money, right?
Yeah.
This was the deal. $500 just goes away.
He never specifically said, here's how you can pay me, but that's where it was going.
Okay, very good.
So after 5 minutes of this, I'm like, Jim, show me the number. So Jim shows me the number that this guy's calling from. So then I call that number on my phone, and it rings 5-6 times, goes to voicemail, but it says, you've reached Lieutenant Leonard of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department.
No.
I'm sorry I can't take your call right now. I'm like, well, maybe this is legit. So anyhow, I hang up. I don't leave a message.
At this point, Brad is thinking that Jim Merritt's just some old man who forgot something, huh?
I'm not sure. It sounded like a scam to me. Jim is less skeptical than I am.
Yeah, so you could be consorting with a known felon at this point.
it is quite possible. So about
Brad
30
preparing
seconds
to
later,
turn state's evidence against Jim Merritt.
Sorry, it wouldn't be the first federal trial I testified in.
Okay, go ahead, Brad.
All right. So about 30 seconds after I call and not leave a message, suddenly my phone starts ringing from this number. Jim's call drops.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, that's interesting. So I pick it up.
Sergeant Leonard thought he had a live one.
Well, yes. So the guy says, this is Lieutenant Leonard from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. I missed a call from you. And I'm like, hey, I just got back from lunch. I had a note on my desk to call this number. It didn't say what it was about. He goes, well, what's your name? And I tell him my name, and he goes, let me look at my files. And I hear some papers rustling, and he goes, I don't have anything in my files. He goes, but I have an office mate who might have called you, and he's at lunch. Let me check with him when he gets back from lunch. So we hang up. Literally 2 minutes later, my phone call rings again from the same number. This time it's a guy saying he's a Sergeant Kirchhoff of the Marion County Sheriff's Department.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but in those 2 minutes, he was able to glean my home address and went into the same spiel, saying, yes, I called you because you missed a summons to be on jury duty in a federal court. There's now a warrant out for your arrest as a courtesy call. And he continues to go into the same thing, but he quotes my home address back to me. And finally, I'm like, listen, man, you never called me. This is a scam. The only reason I called you was because you were calling my buddy. And then he hangs up on me.
And they never called Merritt back.
Busted.
No, shocked by that. So
basically, so Brad, basically what you've got here are these people who are pretending to be law enforcement. They're calling people saying you've done something amiss, and essentially it appears that if this scheme plays out, their goal is to try to get you to give them money in order to make it go away.
Right. So they call, they've got information on you. It sounds legit because they're dropping the names of, local judges and courts, and, they sound just like a true Hoosier. The one thing that raised my eyebrow was, why would somebody from a local sheriff's department be calling on behalf of a federal summons?
Yeah, good.
That never happened.
But this is how they get people, right? Because obviously,
yes.
Brad, you're involved in politics and government. You know how the system works. You're still a relatively young man. They call an older person. They call somebody in their 80s, which Jim Merritt's not far off of these days. Hi, Jim. We love you. And you could see how they could get somebody going, oh, my gosh, I have clearly created a foul of some sort, and I must immediately rectify this situation.
Right. So, yeah, but I mean, they sounded legit. So, sometimes scams will call you and they're just going on volume. They'll call 100 different people with some bogus thing that sounds bogus, but they know 1 in 200 is going to pay off for them. These guys do the other route where they get hyper focused in on 1 or 2 people, get lots of information on those people, and then just try to sound credible.
Well, here's the thing, Brad. I think in a little bit, Casey and I are going to head over to the Attorney General's office. We got a little letter we're going to drop off to him. Maybe we'll mention that to the person at the front desk, because law enforcement really needs to do something about this if there's people out there impersonating law enforcement.
Yes. So while this was going on, Bill Smythe was actually with us. Bill was texting the sheriff in Hamilton County, and throughout all this, when this first started, I immediately went to the Hamilton County government website. They don't have anybody who works in Hamilton County government with the last name of Leonard.
Oh my gosh.
So that's where I was able to at least discern that, this is probably not a real person. And then I turned this over to the Lawrence Police Department as well.
Good.
And just because these guys sound local, I think that there's a chance that they might be caught, because I don't think they're calling from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So
okay, so if this happens to you, don't just hang up the phone and forget about it. Turn it into your law enforcement. Immediately call your local police department, whether you live in Greenwood or Greenfield or whatever, if this has happened to you, if it is happening, because we can't have people out there impersonating law enforcement, Brad. That's really dangerous, and that's bad.
Right. These guys need to be caught. They need to be punished for this, because you're right. They're going to get some people on this.
All right, Brad. Well, thank you for saving Jim Merritt from himself. We all know he probably should be on the run from the law, but thank you for saving him $1,500 or whatever it was, because Merritt probably would have gone and paid it. You're the best, Brad. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you.
I wonder if he would have accepted gift cards. That's when you really know it's a scam.
Well, Nigel gave a stripper tickets to 3 Doors Down one time. And
whatever works, right? It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture Mattress in Columbus. Our Black Friday blowout sale is here. Lazy Boy sofas start at $8.99. Lazy Boy recliners starting at $4.85. Save up to $1,500 on Smith Brothers sectionals and up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Low price, guarantee, free delivery, interest-free financing. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Planning ahead, it's 32 and mostly sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The extended ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is expected to end today, and with that being said, Israel is being proactive in the case of the ceasefire being extended again.
The government has also approved a list of another 50 violent criminals for prospective release should Hamas decide to continue releasing hostages and letting them go home.
Israeli government spokesman Elon Levy. Both sides claimed that the other violated the ceasefire yesterday. Still, Hamas released more hostages and Israel released more Palestinian detainees. Undocumented immigrants bused to Chicago from the southern border are getting some help as the winter gets closer.
Churches are stepping in where the city has failed for months now to get migrants off the streets as Chicago's winter moves in. Grace and Peace Church here is one of 17 churches taking part in a new initiative to provide temporary housing, food, and social services to migrants. And the 1,000 of those migrants are still sleeping either outside on the streets in tents or on the floor in the lobbies of police stations across Chicago.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
So the purchase of new homes is at an all-time low. That means you're staying put. So if you want to improve your space, consider calling Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Their chip system offers stylish, durable floor options. They have a variety of patterns and colors, and it will make any concrete around your house look better. I'm talking about any space in your house that has concrete, like the garage, the patio, the driveway, pool deck coating, anywhere. They're working through the cold weather, too. 317-751-9070. You can also find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Get ready to deck the halls this holiday season with sparkly presents from Helzberg Diamonds Black Friday sale. Up to 65% off dazzling lab-grown diamond tennis bracelets, studs, pendants, and bands. And this is the gift that keeps on giving because you get free Bose headphones with a purchase of $699.99 or more. Don't miss out. Head to a Helzberg store near you or Helzberg.com. Offer valid November 21st through 29th. While supplies last, see online or in-store for details.
Every dollar matters when it comes to Medicare coverage. When you enroll with MDY's Medicare, our low-cost plans give you access to over 27,000 in-network providers. $0 primary care copay with no deductibles, plus a generous OTC allowance. Call 833-248-3906 or go to mdwise.org/MDY's Medicare. Enroll by December 7th. MDY's Medicare is an HMO/HMO POS with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in MDY's Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Discussing end-of-life matters can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary to ensure that loved ones' wishes are well known ahead of time. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyous House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Up next, I'll share suggestions to help ease anxiety surrounding the talk.
Why adult day services?
Because no matter how much you love someone, there are times when you need a break and someone to help. Let Joy's House be that someone for you.
Direct, open, and honest conversation is the best way to discuss end-of-life wishes. Knowing your loved one's preferred treatments and desired arrangements will ready everyone for when the time comes. Also helpful, creating a will or trust to ensure assets are distributed accordingly. And consider an end-of-life doula to assist your family during the process. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Life is a collection of moments that last forever, so make them matter and make them count with a symbol of everlasting love. A diamond from Pierce Jewelers. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. The phone number, 317-684-8444. What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong.
Oh.
I'm just looking at you lovingly.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't recognize the look. You say lovingly, and I say, what's wrong? Okay, let's get to your phone calls. Yesterday, we had a conversation, actually, a couple conversations regarding AI, and we heard from Anna, Indiana. Somebody pointed out that was an acronym, which stood for Artificial Neural Networks Accelerate Innovative New Developments, Igniting a New Age.
No way.
Whatever that means. But Trucker John called because Anna, Indiana is a singer, and he wanted to
use that term loosely.
Yeah.
She's a singer.
Is it a she? An it? I mean...
Okay, that's a great question. Are we assigning sexes to artificial... that'll be the next thing.
Right. Do we have to give the correct gender to AI?
You'll be an ist if you assume the gender.
Yeah.
By all accounts, though, her name is Anna, and she takes the appearance of a woman, so I guess we'll go with...
She.
Mm-hmm. Although... No, I won't go with she because it's not real.
It's an it, right? What are you afraid you're going to offend it?
Yeah, it.
Okay, Trucker John called, and he wanted to give his perspective on being a musician in regards to AI music.
Hey, Rob, I just wanted to call again real quick about the whole AI musician debate. I don't think it would really take off. I know from a rapper's perspective, my perspective on it, I remember a few years ago, well, not even maybe a year, 2 years ago tops, there was an AI rapper. Even had, visuals, songs written, everything. And the thing even ended up with a record deal. Now, the record deal only lasted about 2 days because once people figured out that this AI and started hearing its songs, and it started dropping a certain word that we're not supposed to be saying, although it said a lot in rap music. Yeah, the AI got labeled a racist and got kicked off its record deal, which I thought was hilarious on many levels.
Okay, so the AI was labeled a racist, not the people consuming.
Racist. Everything's racist. Casey.
Okay, so Todd Young, he came out. Yep, and he was at this AI Insight Forum, and he said that he was surprised by the partisan agreement among senators so far during this closed-door session they had, but he expects disagreements soon, of course, as they're discussing how much regulation the government should have in regards to the AI industry. He says the U.S. is going to fall behind other nations, namely China.
Well, if it involves throwing a bunch of money at something, Todd will totally be behind it. So that'll be the fastest way to get some sort of consensus is just put as many zeros behind the price tag as possible. And no doubt there'll be bipartisan legislation.
Okay, so Todd Young said AI can help optimize time and increase efficiencies. In his office, their staff uses OpenAI ChatGPT to brainstorm softball team names in this, little exercise that they had.
They do what?
Yeah, they're
that's what Todd's spending his time on. Our taxpayer time is, what am I going to call my softball team?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, why don't we?
It's a joint team that he has with this senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance.
This will be interesting. Let's see what would happen if for 1 year we got rid of all the members of Congress and we took 435 artificial intelligences.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you could do this. It'd be somebody much smarter than me. Let's say we would bless the world and Todd Young will be out of a job and Jim Barrett will be out of a job and Greg E. Pence will be out of a job. And based on the makeup of the district, so we'll have artificial intelligence work off of the makeup of the district. We will appoint 435 House members, 100 senators based on the makeup of the state in the case of the senator. And I can guarantee you the country will, a year from now, be in markedly better shape than it is today if we got rid of all of these ass clowns and put artificial intelligence based on the makeup, the voting makeup of the district.
Well, I mean, even Todd Young says that AI can help with efficiencies. So can you imagine
number one.
If AI comes out and they said, well, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this.
Getting rid of the Congress would be a phenomenal way to start getting rid of inefficiencies.
I'm kind of surprised, though, that they used AI to brainstorm softball team names. Like, you need AI to help you with that? And that is going to increase your efficiency?
Look, at this point, the more distracted Todd is on his stupid softball team, the less time he's going to have to ruin society. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yesterday, you had mentioned that a new experience for you. You got a Costco membership.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
And
one was gotten for me,
which is a very nice gift. That's a great idea, by the way.
Absolutely. My dear friend Shane and Teresa recognized Rob is too cheap to ever actually pay this membership. We will do it for him.
Good idea, Shane and Teresa. But you went and you had a little shopping excursion with your beautiful wife.
Got a big old bottle of liquor, man. It was that whiskey was so cheap.
I was going to ask you. You keep saying bottle of liquor. What was it?
So it was that Kirkland, but it was whiskey.
Okay.
And it was a gigantic bottle, and it was $18.99 or something like that.
How long is that going to last you?
Well, it depends on how good it is. I haven't tried it yet. I still had Jim Beam that I had to get through last night. I have now done that. So going forward, it will be this new bottle of Kirkland whiskey. But everybody has said that it is upper brand stuff in many cases that either I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding this, they rebranded as theirs.
Right, it's the same product. They just repackage it under the Kirkland label.
That's what I was told. I have no idea if that's true or not. But from everybody that I've talked to, they said the Kirkland stuff is
just as good.
Yeah, at a hell of a lot cheaper.
And what are you going to mix with that? Or are you just drinking that on the rocks?
No. I always put Diet Pepsi in it.
Okay. All right. Well, somebody called and wanted to give their insight on shopping with your spouse.
Hi, Kendall. Kevin, Casey. I loved the last segment yesterday, and it reminded me, as I am 62, my wife is 47.
Good for you.
And we were talking about shopping with your wife. It's kind of a kick for us anymore. I remember that when we first got married, and you can always tell the people that are just been married, there's a bunch of whispering, and they're staying together within 2 feet of each other as they make their decisions. And about 10 years goes by, and maybe you've moved on to 6 feet away from each other, and yes, honey, the value brand is better than the Cremettes macaroni. Go ahead, give what you want. But after 27 years, it's like, honey, I'll see you at the register. I'll be in sporting goods.
You know what? I think I've gone full circle in that scenario.
Really?
Yeah. The whispering stage and then the shopping separate to the not even going together. Like, I'll see you when you get back.
Who does the shopping?
And then go back to the whispering stage.
Who does the shopping? Is it you or is it Jim?
Well, depends on what you're talking
about.
Like
grocery store. We go to the grocery store. Who does the grocery shopping?
He mainly does it, but I will go with him occasionally.
Yeah.
And when I go, we're back to the whispering.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the relationship, the arc. It goes full circle.
And good on that guy. His wife is 15 years younger than him.
I know.
Good on him.
Congratulations
well
to him.
Done.
Okay, so we've been playing clips of all around Indiana and the vocal stylings of your governor, Eric Holcomb. No. He voiced. He didn't make the video, but he voiced 62 videos highlighting different areas of the great Hoosier state.
Wouldn't you love to have the outtakes?
I wonder how long it took him to record that.
You know how.
And who was coaching him?
Oh, that took forever for him to do those. They have to be. Somebody in state government, one of my birdies, you would need to find out for me where those outtakes are because we have to get our hands on those.
And where did he go to record them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What studio is he at?
Yeah. So any of the birdies right now hearing me, this is your assignment. Spread your wings and fly. I want those outtakes of Holcomb recording those ads.
All right. Well, somebody called and had a comment about those.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Just heard the first Governor Holcomb advertisement for Indiana, and I spit my coffee out. I was thinking all the Hoosiers you could have picked. Larry Bird, Joyce DeWitt, the last of the Three Company group, Shelley Long, Axl Rose, Tony Stewart, Janet Jackson, and adopted sons like Peyton Manning, Jeff Gordon, Reggie Miller. Oh, and by the way, Casey, I can't wait for Rob to go on vacation. Guys, have a great day.
He's right, though. He listed a whole bunch of people that they could have used, but instead we've got Eric Holcomb. Maybe he's just looking for his next job. He wants to be a voice actor. What
words would you use without using the word self-absorbed narcissism?
Look at me.
I mean, it is a great insight into what the guy's opinion of himself. Like, people would want to hear from me more than anyone else.
This is part of the Next Level Indiana project. And
golf courses.
So there was a budget for this, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So it's not like, we couldn't afford Peyton Manning.
But it's again, a great example of Holcomb using other people's money to promote himself. Yeah. And that's what the whole MO from him is. And based on the people that are running for governor right now, I don't see any of that changing. I don't see any. It's never about you, Casey. It's never about you as a taxpayer. It's always about the person in the office and their buddies and their friends. We have buddies and friends too. One of them is Hammer.
Yep, and he's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The latest on our charity bowling event, presented by Jack Daniels, and we'll have another Biden Madness matchup. 93 WIBC.
If you need to sell your home during the holidays, quick, fast, and guaranteed is what you want. Make selling your home easy without sacrificing profit by calling Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low-ball instant offer. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Jackie and Terry in Wanamaker had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were entering next phase of life, and we wanted maintenance-free living. We built a new patio home and needed to sell our old home for a good price for retirement, and we wanted to sell quickly. Mark Dietl expertly marketed our home, sold it quick for the price we wanted, and closed in under 30 days. Call for all the details. Call the agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
No more joint pain. It's not necessary to live another year in pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are back to living a normal life again. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics can give you your life back. They're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. All natural treatments that can repair and restore damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Make the call right now so you can get the most out of 2024. Got pain from that old injury? Pain from arthritis? Get back to doing what you love. Make that pain go away. And don't forget, you can use your HSA and FSA funds. Get your free consultation with QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel, all with Saturday appointments available. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
You'll be talking to family and friends on the phone during the holidays, so make sure everyone enjoys the conversation, including those with hearing loss. RelayIndiana.com provides captioned telephones that allow the hard of hearing to have normal phone conversations through voice recognition technology. The other person's words appear on an easy-to-read screen. Don't let those with hearing loss become isolated during the holidays. Get the CapTel captioned telephone from Relay Indiana. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Hey, Brent, love the color. If you had to choose, would you watch paint dry or compare benefits plans?
Compare benefits plans, obviously.
But you know how complicated benefits are, right?
Well, I run payroll with Gusto. Gusto makes it easy to find benefits like medical, dental, and vision for my whole team.
Whoa! Oh, sorry. I'm gonna need new glasses.
Don't worry, you're covered.
Choose benefits without the mess. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
Brace yourself for the ultimate holiday deal with Consumer Cellular. Snag an incredible 50% off the Iris Flip when you buy before December 17th, making it only $34.50. The Iris Flip is all the phone and camera you need with a user-friendly design, the perfect flip phone companion. Plus, you'll get nationwide coverage and always free activation. Score 50% off when you use promo code RADIO50. Head over to consumercellular.com and use promo code RADIO50 during checkout to score this deal.
Extended Black Friday. Up to 52% off all products, plus 10% in manufacturer rebates. For a limited time only, go to bwindow.com.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Good morning, 1051. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC from the number one rated Hammer and Nigel program. Jason Hammer in the studio. You've got something for Rob today?
I do.
Oh, how exciting.
So, as you know, the Hammer and Nigel merch store is open. We closed it down for a little while because we had some hiccups with it. We're relaunching the all-new store at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
So for those of you who have wondered, you can still buy stuff, but we're officially rolling out the new store at the beginning of the year.
How exciting.
So the I Love and I Hate Rob Kendall t-shirts, I decided I'm not going to make any money on those. I'm going to give my money to you.
Great.
And here is the funds of that sale. You said you were going to do something with it.
Yes, it's going to go to Project Rescue, which is helps fight human trafficking all across the globe. They partner with Life Church. Life Church is a big check presentation to them at the end of the year. So all of that money will go to Project Rescue.
So after all the costs and everything, it was a profit of $150.
Wow, nice.
I chipped in 50 of my own bucks.
Wow.
Here is $200.
Fantastic.
So I do have to give that to Project Rescue, right?
You do. And
maybe
you know
my 50 you can just take to the
Applebee's.
There's an envelope right there for you. I've located the envelopes, put it in there, and drop it off.
So again, if anybody still wants to buy at the store, I have a new supplier. I've got a new online bank, which was a lot of the hiccups that we were having before, but we're officially getting the big push at the beginning of the year.
That's
so there you
great.
go.
Store.hammerandnigel.com.
Right.
The shirts will still, the I Hate Rob Kendall shirts will stay up there.
Absolutely.
And I will, at least for the foreseeable future, if it changes, I'll announce it, but continue to give the profits every 6 months or whenever they come in to Project Rescue. So maybe I'll try to get Micah to come in studio next week.
Good.
And give him the money in person.
Very good. You've got such a big heart.
Thanks for donating on top of that, too. Well, I did. Don't ruin it for everyone, Casey. I'm about to be a belligerent jerk next segment, so don't ruin it for me.
Hey, speaking of belligerent jerks, Biden Madness, the in-season tournament is rolling, and during this segment all week, we're going to get you up to date on what happened yesterday. So you can still vote on this. If you go to Hammer and Nigel Twitter and just scroll down a few tweets, you can cast your vote for the current matchup. Kamala Harris, the number 3 seed in this tournament, her go-to catchphrase, the phrase she says during every speech, unburdened by what has been.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be.
These are all different speeches.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be
For real.
unburdened by what has been. Who we can be unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be unburdened by what has been.
That's all separate.
All separate speeches. Nigel made a great point yesterday. Do you think Kamala Harris thinks like she's The Rock? Like when you go to like a WWE event back in the day, you're waiting for The Rock to say, if you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yep.
Like, does Kamala think people are going to stand up and come on, say it.
Say it.
Unburdened by what has been.
Take a shot. Woo!
So that's the 3 seed, taking on the number 6 seed in our tournament. This is a new clip from Joe Biden. This is a clip that has never been in any previous Biden Madness round. This is where Joe Biden was speaking at some award show, butchered the name of LL Cool J, and then called him boy.
Two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's spent...
So this is a good matchup here. This is a good matchup. Vote on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Go to the Hammer and Nigel feed, scroll down a few tweets, and cast your vote.
Do you think Biden had ever heard the name LL Cool J before?
Never.
Never, right?
Never in a million
years. I mean,
years.
you don't picture him being a part of, Death Row Records at some point? Or
He doesn't know what websites are. Remember when he was trying to roll out the vaccine website? Vaccines.gum. Blue chair gum.
.gum. I forgot about that. What's coming up this afternoon?
We've released more tickets for our bowling event.
Oh, how exciting.
So by popular demand, we talked our sales staff into it. Get your tickets now on the events page, WIBC.com.
Our letter to Todd Rokita, we read it. Coming up next.
Excellent job, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, Casey.
Yeah, Rob.
Did you hear Bill Demery, you know him, he's our retirement guy, is helping Indy residents at an instant 13% bonus on top of their retirement savings.
Wait, so like every $100 gets you an extra $13 more?
Yeah, and it adds up. You can get $13,000 for every $100,000. So someone who could invest like $7 million like you, think about how much money that is.
13%. That's a heck of a bonus.
It is, and you get an extremely competitive return year after year. Over the last 10 years, it's been 7% and backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world.
I guess that's why they call Bill Demery your retirement guy. So if our listeners want their 13% bonus, what should they do?
Just call Bill Demery at 317-932-9912. But it may not last long, so call 317-932-9912. Casey?
317-932-9912. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
Butler Ballet presents their holiday tradition of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker, accompanied by the Butler Symphony Orchestra and Indianapolis Children's Choir. Join Butler Ballet and revel in the magic and spectacle of live ballet. Spectacular dancing, beautiful costumes, glorious scenery, and pyrotechnical flash. Catch this holiday classic November 30th through December 3rd at historic Clues Memorial Hall. Tickets and more information at butlerartcenter.org.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
Extended Black Friday. Up to 52% off all products, plus 10% in manufacturer rebates. For a limited time only, go to bwindow.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what law enforcement will discuss this afternoon in Rush County, plus where a person was shot this morning in Indy and what police believe led to it, and how this Colts player spent his Giving Tuesday. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
A condemnation of anti-Semitism. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. On the Senate floor,
Jewish Americans are feeling singled out, targeted, and isolated.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer denouncing a rise in hate crimes reported since the war in Gaza broke out.
When we see protesters at Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade compare the genocide of the Holocaust equivalently to the Israeli army's action to defeat Hamas in self-defense of their people, we are shocked.
Another big pro-Palestinian protest is planned tonight in New York City that could interrupt the lighting of the famed Rockefeller Christmas tree.
Saying they're going to flood this area in support for Gaza. The NYPD is ready to respond because it happens every week, right? Some of the preps that have been in place here in New York City as the department is preparing for those protests, trying to get everything in place, mixing in both uniforms and plainclothes officers.
Fox's Alexis McAdams. Hamas is set to free 12 more Israeli hostages today, but Yifat Zayler tells Fox she's told her relatives are not among them.
We try to remain hopeful. We continue with our battle and efforts.
Fox's Greg Palkot's in Tel Aviv.
Now, as part of the deal, Palestinian prisoners are also being released, but what is being worked on now by the U.S., Israel, and Hamas go-betweens, an extension of the ceasefire and hostage exchanges, which is set to end overnight.
An update on the search at sea near Japan after a U.S. Air Force Osprey crash. A military statement says there were 8 crew members on board. Their conditions unknown. The Japanese Coast Guard had reported one was found dead. The House Speaker has just said they'll vote tomorrow on a resolution to expel Congressman George Santos, the Republican who lied to New York voters about his past before the election, then was indicted, accused of campaign finance fraud. But Santos remains defiant, saying on the House floor last night,
"Are we to now assume that one is no longer innocent until proven guilty?"
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You'll know more soon. It's 34 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A press conference happening later today in Rush County. The sheriff's office and federal agents will share what they know about the disappearance of Valerie Tyndall, who has not been seen since early June. The FBI searched a home in Rush County on Tuesday as part of the case. The home is that of a man who has already been charged with lying to police. A person shot and killed on the southwest side early this morning. It was at a home along Holt Road, just south of Kentucky Avenue.
A disturbance of some kind took place this morning, and then that shooting incident occurred.
IMPD officer Simone Burris says a fight happened between two people, and then a third person intervened and fired the shots. She says that a teenager has been detained, but so far no arrests have been made. He was expelled from school, and now he's facing felony charges. Ryan Hedrick reports on a former Zionsville student.
Jacob Collier wanted to graduate this year, but in August he was kicked out of school and allowed to finish classes online. In October, he requested to come back to school and take more classes in person, but the school said no, and that's when Zionsville cops say he sent a Snapchat message to some people saying that he wanted to kill the assistant principal. Instead of facing the prospects of receiving his diploma, he'll be facing a judge now and answering to felony charges of intimidation. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
$3.06 is the average price for unleaded gas in Indiana today, says Gas Buddy. That's the cheapest it's been in nearly a year. A worker was killed killed on the job Friday at a steel plant in Montgomery County. OSHA is now looking into the working conditions at Nucor Steel, Indiana. It's not clear what led to the worker's death. On Giving Tuesday, Indianapolis Colts cornerback Kenny Moore decided to give his time to the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital.
And I said, just me talking to you right now in this moment, this is going to push me further to be, just a better human.
Moore says he enjoyed playing video games and making ornaments with the kids, and he says that he is able to bond over the value of hope. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
JMV here for Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden. Right now at both locations, they have cut trees, live greens, porch pots, and poinsettias all in stock. Decorate for the holidays with Miss M's and Sundown Gardens, and for decorations that will last for years to come, get 20% off interior holiday decor. Sundown Gardens, 186th and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135, just south of Whiteland Road. Miss M's homeandgarden.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 29th. It is 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So weeks after being reprimanded, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita is again under investigation by the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission, this time for the statement he made after signing the affidavit to settle his previous disciplinary complaint.
There are many, many people, Casey, who hate me. And yet these people listen to this show. And you know why they listen? Because we're right so often. And one of the things, and at the time it seemed like a curse, but as I have gotten older and I've watched my life evolve and God puts you in places for reasons, one of the reasons our show is different from every other show is the experience that I had in the government. As an elected official, as an appointed official, I saw things from the inside and can give perspective that nobody else can or does, not just on this radio station, but in Indianapolis media. And from the moment Todd Rokita, and you remember, you were here, we were working together last year, from the moment he went on Fox News and ran his mouth, I said he is going to get in big trouble for that, because that is totally unprofessional behavior from an attorney, much less the attorney general, who is the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana. And what I said at the time was that was just example 1A of why Todd Rokita should not be the attorney general. Because the attorney general, as the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana, in this case, should be all about, and prosecutors should be the same way, should be all about finding what the law says, finding what the Constitution says, and then if you believe something has been violated, pursue justice through the avenue of which you are supposedly an expert and a professional, which is the court system. His initial default reaction, because Todd Rokita is a politician, was to sprint onto Fox News as fast as he possibly could. Do I disagree with a lot of the things he said? No. Was he right on a lot of the things he said? Yes. However, I'm a radio broadcaster. He's not a pundit. He is one of the most important elected officials in the state of Indiana. He is in charge of administering justice for the state of Indiana, and it was completely 100% totally unprofessional, and it proved everything we'd been saying. The Supreme Court, there was a complaint filed for lawyers. There's what's called a disciplinary commission. They then reviewed the case, and they made an agreement with Todd Rokita saying, in agreement for you to admit you did wrong or you messed up, we will let you off, or we will recommend the Supreme Court, who oversees the disciplinary commission, let you off with a warrant, written warning, verbal warning, whatever, reprimand. And you will admit you did wrong. We will reprimand you, and we're all going to part friends and go our own ways, and you're going to learn your lesson and not do that again. It was a 3-2 vote at the Supreme Court because just because the commission recommends something, Supreme Court can do whatever they want. They could have stripped him of his law license. They could have suspended it. There was a million different things. And many, many people thought, given how egregious Rokita's actions were, that he got off easy. And 2 of the Supreme Court justices, which I believe were all appointed by Republican governors, mind you, said essentially the same thing. So it was a 3-2 vote. Rokita then proceeds because again, he can't help himself, and he can't not seek the limelight, and he can't keep his mouth shut, and he can't not be a politician in a job where you should be the exact opposite of a politician, sprints to the nearest, whether it was I think it was a press release that went out, essentially trying to say, I didn't do anything wrong, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's in direct contrast of what you agreed to at the Supreme Court. You agreed I did wrong. You are accepting responsibility. And in exchange for that, the Supreme Court is saying you have been reprimanded. You will go your merry way, in part because the Supreme Court said in their ruling he accepted responsibility. Well, to then immediately deny, which is wholly ridiculous anyway, that you didn't do the thing that you just accepted responsibility for, now he's back in hot water again, and multiple complaints have been filed against him, and he ain't getting off with a reprimand if they find him liable this time, Casey.
Yeah, okay, so you mentioned that there have been multiple complaints that have been filed, and they're separate grievances, independent of each other, and now that's what they're looking at. And now Rokita, he must provide a written response to the allegations that he violated 2 rules of professional conduct.
So here is, and again, the way the commission works, any person, this is inside baseball, but this is actually very important. So any person can make a complaint against an attorney, a lawyer, a prosecutor, anybody. Goes to the commission. There's people who get it. They look at it. They go, oh, this is stupid. I'm sure they get, frivolous complaints all the time. They throw it out.
Right.
However, then they'll look at, if they find there's some merit to some, then it goes up the ladder. And then, just like in the legal system, somebody, it's not a prosecutor, but it's essentially like the prosecutorial type people will decide how to proceed with the thing. Well, part of, again, Rokita's deal was that he on this affidavit, essentially admitted I did wrong. So here is what one of the complaints says against Rokita. And I'm no man of the law. Supreme Court's going to do whatever Supreme Court wants to do. I can guarantee you this, the commission on this is not going to be happy about this whatsoever. And the Supreme Court being made for fools or tried to be made for fools are not going to be happy. Quote, this is from one of the complaints. The commission agreed to, and the court narrowly approved, a very generous conditional agreement finding, quote, respondents' acceptance of responsibility is a mitigating factor. Rokita, however, has not accepted responsibility for his misconduct. In his website response, filed immediately after the court's decision, he denied any misconduct and paints himself as a victim of the media, liberal activists, and cancel culture, among others. By implication, he includes the commission and the court among his perceived unjust persecutors. That is so well written, and this is why Todd should not have been the attorney general. Because as a senator, which he didn't ever get to be a senator because he ran a terrible campaign, but as a congressman or the secretary of state, he can say whatever he wants. Politicians can say whatever they want. But because you have to have a law license in the state of Indiana to be the attorney general, you are held to a higher standard than just being a bloviating blowhard who doesn't want to be held to any sort of boundaries or standards. And Todd cannot get that through his very thick skull.
Okay, so the commission's going to pay special attention to this Cardoza-Jones grievance, and the disciplinary commission is investigating whether he violated this Indiana professional conduct rule. And you mentioned expert and lawyer. You're not a lawyer, however, we do have a guy, and tomorrow Abdul's going to join us, and we're going to get into maybe a little bit more of the weeds of that aspect of this.
All right, so and real quick, the highest level of this, the reason I have been so passionate about this is, and ultimately in front of the medical licensing board, Rokita got got not verdict's not the right word, but got justice of some sort against this doctor for doing some of the things that she did. Now, he didn't get everything that they set out to get, but they were able to, it's not a criminal court, but the medical licensing board find that she had made some missteps as well, which is what this should have been about, and he tainted the whole thing, and he made himself look stupid, and he made the state look stupid, because with Todd Rokita, you're going to get activism first and justice second. And this woman, who should have been probably held to account even more than she was able to get off with a relative slap on the wrist because he bungled the case because of his own inability to just keep his damn mouth shut.
You're talking about the Fox interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this Caitlin Bernard, he harmed his own cause because he put himself in front of the justice system.
Yep.
All right. Should we get to the second part of the
yes.
Of this? Okay. So it's funny that all this is happening because just last week he went on Tony Kinnett's show and went on some bizarre rant, unprompted, right? It wasn't like Tony was like, "Hey, what do you think about Rob and Casey?"
Yeah.
He went on some bizarre rant about us. It was clearly directed at us. He never says our names, but he does this. He's done this more than once on WIBC, where he will go on another show on WIBC and unprompted, just like he did with Hammer and Nigel, will start making bizarre, weird comments. I feel like you're an innocent victim in all of this.
I am an innocent bystander.
It really
Thank you
is
for
direct,
recognizing
but it's our
that.
show. I can't.
It is. I know. My name's on it too. But he did call. He did say clowns.
Plural.
He did. So
it's so weird that a guy who claims to be such a fighter and a guy who's such a big tough guy will go on all the WIBC shows and say stuff about us, but then despite there are people acknowledging they listen, and he clearly listens because he's regurgitating things we're saying, and us inviting him on this show multiple times, he will not come on this show. And the reason for that is, and they actually touched on this in this article in the State House file, that Rokita depends upon people believing that the media is all left.
And he's the victim.
And no matter what you think about me, nobody is going to accuse me of being a leftist. Nobody's going to be accusing me of being a liberal. My issue with Todd Rokita is Todd Rokita. I like a lot of Todd Rokita's politics.
And he said the same thing about you.
But he is wholly unqualified to be Attorney General. And what he's going through with the Supreme Court, take the fact that he's, by my understanding, never had actually tried a case before he became Attorney General. It's like, would you have a surgeon who'd never done surgery? But no, of course, I mean, it's just stupid. But he's proving, he on a daily basis proves why I said he should not be in this position. Go be in politics. Go be where justice is not the cause, but politics is the cause. So anyway, since he won't respond to us, you and I made an executive decision that we are going to walk a letter over to his office at the State House when we get off the air today. And we're going to invite him on the show. That way they can't say, "Oh, we didn't know. We had no idea."
Sure.
We didn't even think email would be appropriate. We thought someone of, the level of Attorney General, we should probably do this in person. But I wanted to share the letter that we're going to drop off to Todd Rokita's office.
Well, I mean, what did he think was going to happen? He came into our house and started ripping on us.
Well, he's a fake tough guy.
And we said, "Hey, come in here and talk to us about this." Crickets, nothing.
It's so weird he's scared of a woman, isn't it? Like a big, tough guy, Todd Rokita.
You know my looks have tones.
I mean, it's like he's afraid of you, Casey, and he professes to be such a Billy badass tough guy. So we're going to drop this letter off, and I just thought the audience should know exactly what we're dropping off to Todd Rokita. Now, in fairness, I wrote the letter. Casey did sign off on the letter, and her signature is actually on the letter, and she wrote on the envelope as we will drop it off here in just a little bit. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Maestro, please. Dear Attorney General Rokita, this letter is a formal invitation to appear on the Kendall and Casey Show, which airs weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 93.1 WIBC.
He knows.
In multiple recent appearances on WIBC, you have made derogatory remarks, clearly geared towards the hosts of our program. As you reference numerous specific items discussed on our program, a reasonable person would conclude you are an avid listener. We thank you. For that, we thank you. However, we found these remarks to other hosts on our station perplexing, as we have invited you to appear on our program to discuss various issues of apparent disagreement multiple times. As a self-professed fighter, we are amiss as to why you keep saying these things to other hosts, but have thus far failed to accept our invitation to express these deeply held feelings to us on our program. As the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana, and someone recently reprimanded by the state Supreme Court over irresponsible public comments, you understand better than most the need to be judicious in the words you use and provide explanation for said words. We are giving you the opportunity to do that by appearing on our show. In the interest of transparency and the public good, we once again extend the invitation for you to appear on our show. We hope that you accept.
Care and prudence, Todd Rokita. Care and prudence.
Good, professional, well done.
Love it.
I mean, I did several drafts of that, and that was the only one I could read on public airwaves. And so we ended up going with that.
Okay, so we're going to drop that off to his office in just a bit. I'm sure he's looking forward to it. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Live from Fox News, Sean Hannity will present an exclusive 90-minute debate between Florida Governor and GOP presidential candidate Ron DeSantis and California Governor Democrat Gavin Newsom, focusing on the major issues impacting our country. The debate will examine the vastly different approaches the two governors have, offering insights into their political philosophies and ambitions for the nation, the economy, the border, immigration, crime, and inflation. Starting tomorrow night at 9 on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. The program begins in summer of 2024. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Between global jihad, China, Russia, and our southern border, we are in for a long and protracted battle. You need to prepare for the worst. Protect your home, protect your family, and protect your investments. It's time to reach out to the Oxford Gold Group. They make it simple for whether you are buying more gold, diversifying your 401k, or buying gold for the first time. Call 833-995-GOLD or visit jessekellygold.com. That's jessekellygold.com.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Extended Black Friday. Up to 52% off all products, plus 10% in manufacturer rebates. For a limited time only, go to bwindow.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Whoa, check out that chick.
Yeah, but who's that fart knocker she's with?
22 minutes after 11, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Who else does a show like this?
No one.
You know, it's rare in your life, Casey, where as a young boy you can aspire to do something and it actually happens. And yeah. I am almost 40 years old, and I am doing the exact thing I yearned to do as a small child.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing the exact thing I yearned to do as a young adult. I'm doing it.
You're living your dream.
I mean, I am in a high-profile feud with the Attorney General for the state of Indiana, and I'm getting paid to do it, and our audience is loving every second of it.
Congratulations, Rob Kendall. You know, Jack just played some Kansas as our bumper music, and you know, at one point I was front selling. I was disc jockeying on the ones and twos, the A's and B's, playing the music, and look at me now.
Look at you. Look
at
you
me
go.
now, getting roped into a fight with the Attorney General.
Absolutely, and you're speaking at that political event tomorrow for Charles Bookwalter.
Look at us now.
You're an in-demand public speaker. It is. I mean, life is just wonderful for you.
Hey, what's going on with Mark Cuban? Is it true that he's selling
this is wild. That
his portion of his team?
It appears that he is going to, or has made a deal with the Adelson family. Now, people will probably remember Sheldon Adelson. He was a casino mogul, and he passed away a couple of years ago. His wife inherited his money, the trust, whatever it's called, and she, because I think she's like a surgeon or something by trade, has agreed, along with their trust. These are just
selling the majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, this has not been confirmed, but the report is that they believe they're going to pay
$3.5 billion.
Well, that's the total valuation of the team. He's not selling all of his ownership. They think it may be 57-ish%, and that would be upwards of $2 billion. Now they're basing this off of the fact because they're Las Vegas Sands Corp is the name of the corporation that the Adelson family owns, that owns the casinos. Mrs. Adelson, the widow, and then I think the son-in-law sold a bunch of stock, which is public record. It obviously is a publicly owned company. And as part of that, they had to put what the money was intended for, and they said they're going to buy a major sports or a controlling ownership in a major sports franchise. Mark Cuban, and I don't know exactly how they determined it's the Dallas Mavericks, but everybody feels pretty good it's the Mavericks. I think they have some previously negotiated potential business ties to Mark Cuban involving an arena and a casino down there in Dallas. And so the understanding is that Mark Cuban would still, even though he's selling a majority ownership, would still keep control of basketball operations.
Right. He's going to retain his role as governor of the franchise.
Which that's big because that's I think the way the NBA works, the governor title is the voting title. So like on rules changes or collective bargaining or, whatever it might be, the, hiring and firing of the commissioner. So he would kind of still maintain control. What's weird though, so Mark Cuban is 65 years old.
And with a net worth of $6.2 billion.
He has to dye his hair, doesn't he? There's no way the guy that his age still has jet black hair. There's absolutely no way, right?
No, you're probably right.
Isn't it shocking when people stop doing something? So here's a great example. This most recent tour, Bruce Springsteen comes out with like jet white hair. And I'm looking at this, and it had been several years since he toured. And I'm like,
that didn't happen overnight.
What the heck is this?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, the last time I saw him, it wasn't like he was 40. He was in his mid-60s. Oh, he's been cheating the whole time. That's how he kept that youthful appearance.
Yeah.
It's so, and you will see whether it's actors or musicians or whatever who for some reason will just wake up one day and say, I'm done with the boot black. Mark Cuban has to dye his hair. There's no way he has, at 65 years old, jet black hair like that.
No, I'm sure he has a little enhancement. So Forbes lists that Adelson as the 5th richest woman in the world. She has a net worth of $32 billion. So is he going to stay on Shark Tank?
Well, no, he quit. So that's the other thing. Okay. People are like wondering what's going on. Is he going
to run for president?
I don't know. I guess he publicly announced, it isn't even a rumor, that he is leaving Shark Tank. He was on there for 16 years. So you wonder, and I don't mean to be morbid about this, but he so loves basketball and the Dallas Mavericks, and Shark Tank was such a part of his identity. Let's face it, he's just hanging out with other rich people and they're just going in there goofing around having fun.
Right.
The fact that he would be giving both of these things up, and he is by no means a spring chicken, even though he still looks very young for his age. You hope, hopefully he's in good health, but you do wonder what's kind of going on there.
Or maybe he just is smart enough to realize, you know what, I'm stupid rich. I don't need to work this hard anymore, and I want to enjoy it.
I had a guy, so when I first started in radio, and I did overnights on a classic rock station.
Where you probably played Kansas, Carry On Your Wayward Son.
Man, I met some, I was 21 years old doing overnights. This is back when they still used to have overnight disc jockeys at the classic rock station. We both worked for the same guy, not at the same time, but the same guy who owned the station. And I had a guy who was, he was a weekend guy, but he was also kind of like a fill-in guy. If somebody had a day off or whatever, he would come in. And he used to, years and years, I'm talking like in the 1980s, he was the producer for IU basketball. This was for long before there was an IU radio network. It was like they were I think on some station in Bloomington. I don't know. And he said that every basketball game, obviously pre-internet, there was a guy who would call, that was back when long distance was a thing. There was a guy who would call right before the start of every IU basketball game and ask him to put the phone on hold. For our younger members of the audience, used to be businesses or radio stations especially would have an on-hold service where you could hear the radio station as the on-hold service. And he said this guy would call from Texas every single game and would ask to be put on hold and would run up a 3-hour long-distance phone bill. And he said, I'm absolutely certain that guy was Mark Cuban.
Really?
Obviously pre-internet, there was when the games
no
were
way
just
of hearing it.
Games were just on
if you weren't in the market.
Yeah, TTV4. It's not like you could, cable your way to the IU basketball games, and he said, I'm absolutely certain that guy was. Think about the phone bill back then, Casey.
Right, but what does he care?
Well, exactly. That's why I said I'm all 95% certain that guy was Mark Cuban.
Okay, so Forbes ranks the Mavs as one of NBA's 10 most valuable franchises. It's worth $4.5 billion.
Yeah, so you do wonder. I mean, you hope everything's fine, but I
guess he was in his usual seat on Tuesday, right?
Well, anytime you see somebody sell something that is not a business, it's a passion or a hobby, which basketball is to him, you do. Now, again, he's not selling the whole team.
And he is going to stay as the governor role. He's still going to be involved.
Maybe he just thought it was too good of a deal to pass up, and he still gets to do all the things he wants to do.
Yeah. Okay, it is 11:29. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved a 50-year-old couple over $300 per month when compared to their old individual plan. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 per month when compared to their quote on healthcare.gov. We are now entering the crazy enrollment season when our federal government will spend millions telling us that healthcare.gov is our only good option for quality health care. Whether it's called healthcare.gov, Affordable Care Act, or it's still Obamacare, don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Give us a call at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Quoting the great Dr. Duke Tomato, Lord, please help our Colts. And as always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Mark Diedel's the only real estate agent I trust to sell my house. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home, or maybe you want max equity from your home, but are not sure how. Mark Diedel's your guy. It was time for Matt in Shelbyville to sell the last of his investment properties and use the money elsewhere. In fact, Mark has sold many houses with Matt, and this time was no different than others. Mark got the job done, as expected, at the price Matt needed. Call Mark Dietel today, 755-4232.
There's only one agent that we trust and recommend, and that's Mark Dietel. Because Mark Dietel, he has the guarantee in place. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. If you don't believe us, call him. Talk to Mark Dietel yourself, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You'll know more soon. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Valerie Tyndall has been missing since June. She was last seen just northwest of Rushville. On Tuesday, the FBI and Rush County deputies were searching the home of a man who last saw Valerie alive. Patrick Scott is already charged with lying to police in the case. The feds and the sheriff will share more details about the case later this afternoon. More money for schools. That's what the state's largest teachers union is asking of state lawmakers for the upcoming session.
The legislature needs to fully fund the cost of textbooks.
ISTA President Kevin Gamble. That's likely a non-starter for lawmakers, though, since this year is not a budget session. They do plan to address low reading scores among third graders in Indiana. Lawmakers have proposed holding students back. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $300. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment. They enjoy more doctor visits, pick up prescriptions, and find the care they need. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Enroll by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Pierce Jewelers is Carmel's full-service jewelry store where all watch repair, jewelry repair, appraisals, or custom design is done in-house. See them at piercejewelers.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 11:34. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So there's this billionaire. His name is Charles Koch. And he's got this conservative network, and they came out yesterday and they endorsed Nikki Haley for president, throwing not only their weight, but a whole lot of money her way. This opens up a lot of doors.
So I think most of our audience would be familiar with the Koch brothers. I think there's only one of them living, if I recall.
Charles,
I think one of them passed away. These guys, they made their money. Was it in the oil business? I think that's how they made their money. I could be off on that, but they were two brothers who were filthy rich. 10, 15 years ago, they were super libertarian leaning, and they funded all sorts of think tanks. There was actually a group when I did talk radio in North Carolina, the John Locke Society, that was funded by the Koch brothers, and they did these states all across the country, and their goal was to get people thinking in a more limited government mindset, and Koch brothers were a super huge deal. As a candidate, you wanted to be endorsed by them because of the money that came, et cetera. But they did a lot more than just try to win elections. They tried to change the way people thought. And what's really weird is that in the era of Trump, I think the one brother was kind of a never-Trumper guy, and they became so anti-Trump.
They didn't endorse anybody.
And it was in the general, too. It was like, you got a choice between Hillary and anybody, and you're not endorsing anybody. I mean, come on. But they really got a lot of egg on their face because at least the one brother, again, I think the other one has since passed away, was pretty vicious in their anti-Trump, which Trump did a lot of things the Koch brothers claimed to want to be for. I mean, we talk about the tax cuts for businesses and encouraging American business to come back over from overseas and changing the tax code. I mean, there was a lot of things Trump did, and it was another reminder because so many people made money. I'm not saying the Koch brothers are this. They gave away a lot of money, but so many people made money, like a Bill Kristol, off the idea of certain things. But once the thing happened, then your idea is no longer necessary. And so I think a big part of the pushback from traditional Republican, not even Republican, conservative voices to Trump was their grift would come to an end if Trump won and tried to do the things that he tried to do, because your idea of wouldn't it be cool if was actually being done. Wouldn't it be cool if we secured the border? Hey, he wants to build a wall. Wouldn't it be cool if we made America's business tax climate competitive with the rest of the world? Trump did it. Wouldn't it be cool if we had somebody who got tough on China? Trump did it. Those guys ran out of a market because they didn't need the pontificators anymore. There was actually somebody in office trying to do the thing, and they showed it was about them rather than the thing.
And isn't that interesting? Because he's the guy who was doing all of the stuff that they wanted, but yet they wouldn't back him. In fact, they're arguing that Nikki Haley is the strongest candidate to defeat Trump in the GOP primary, as well as Biden. They said that she has what it takes to lead a policy agenda to take our nation's biggest challenges and help ensure our country's best days are ahead.
Isn't it weird, though, how in the modern Trump era, and I think it's because Trump is so strong as a personality, it used to be, and Ted Cruz ran into this, these endorsements would matter because of the money that came with them and the networking. Like, hey, one of the Koch brothers is a staunch Nikki Haley supporter. Cool. Here's his network of tentacles of people and funds and organizations and nonprofits that are funded by the Koch brothers. And now, while you can't make those people support you, boy, isn't it convenient they just start tending to lean in that direction. And Ted Cruz, I think, kind of banked on some of that when he ran in 2016, But it just simply, it doesn't matter with Trump because his personality and his brand is so big and so strong that it almost works against you. It works against Kinnett and it works against the people doing the endorsement because now you've just alienated a huge group of people.
Okay, so Nikki Haley said, obviously, she welcomed the endorsement. And she said this is a choice between freedom and socialism, individual liberty and big government, fiscal responsibility and spiraling debt. Now, if you're everybody else, if you're Ron DeSantis, if you're Chris Christie, if you're Vivek Ramaswamy, aren't you going, oh, crap, she got the Coke money? But also looking like, okay, what is she going to have to do now?
Well,
to say, thank you.
She hasn't. In fact, if you look at the polling, and I saw this the other day, somebody posted, I can't remember who it was. She got a little bump after that most recent debate, and then she has totally flatlined since. DeSantis is still several points ahead of her in all the polling. She's not trending upwards. She's a very unlikable person. The stuff she said about the internet shows who she is.
Right.
I mean, think about it. You're the Koch brothers whose idea was liberty and freedom. That was kind of the central theme of their support. And you're supporting a woman who says everyone on the internet should have to identify themselves.
By name.
You come off as disingenuous and people see through it. And I just think in a world where it's a 24/7 news cycle and Trump can just do whatever he wants to do, their money isn't going to matter. She doesn't matter. And it's fun for us to talk about, but I think that's probably as far as it goes, right?
Well, I mean, it'll be a lot of money that they're going to inject her way.
Is it, though? I mean, because we're a month away from Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the George Soros of the Republican Party.
But you're so close to Iowa now. How much are they actually going to put into her? Because while they don't have infinite money. They have a lot of money. By our standards, they have infinite money. We need more friends with infinite money. We ran that one billionaire guy off. What the heck was his name? Oh, the guy that ran for mayor.
Jefferson.
Yeah, our principals always get in the way of our friends. We would have more friends if we didn't have these principals, Casey. Because, see, we knew he was going to lose anyway. We should have just held our mouth, and then we could be on a nice vacation somewhere.
That would be disingenuous to our listeners, though. Hey, we talked yesterday about the Ron DeSantis, Gavin Newsom debate.
Yes.
And it's being called the Great Red versus Blue State debate between two governors. And you asked, is this going to be on Fox? Is it going to be on Fox News? It is going to be on Fox News. And it's going to be at 9 o'clock Thursday from Georgia. Of course, you can also hear it right here on WIBC, 90 minutes long. And it's going to be hosted by Sean Hannity.
Okay, so I got two options here. It's going to be on WIBC.
Mhm.
I can either do that, or I can just swallow my pride and go be nice to my dad and ask to use his cable for a couple hours.
No, you should listen to it on the radio.
What is
I'll watch it on TV.
All right.
And then we can do by listening, it sounded like this person
that's
won.
a great idea.
By watching, it looked like this person won.
I wonder what my wife's going to make me do, though, because she likes to go watch these things.
Well, isn't it fascinating, though? Because here you have two, relatively younger guys doing a debate, and the comparison between that debate and what we've seen, with Biden, his stumbling and mumbling around.
Just don't want to waste 2 hours of my day. It just seems like a giant waste of time. Why don't you just do both? Listen and watch.
Do it for the show.
Why don't you have one ear doing the radio and the other doing the television? How about that? And then I'll just say, Casey, how'd it go?
I'll give you my synopsis. All right, it's Kendall and Casey. It's 11:42. It's 93 WIBC. The National Christmas Tree fell. What? We'll discuss it coming up.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the latest on the hostage situation in Israel, and California and Michigan have made a declaration. You don't get to move about freely. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-1509. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-1509. That's 800-555-1509. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
The program begins in summer of 2024. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture Mattress in Columbus. Our Black Friday blowout sale is here. Lazy Boy sofas start at $8.99. Lazy Boy recliners starting at $4.85. Save up to $1,500 on Smith Brothers sectionals and up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Low price, guarantee, free delivery, interest-free financing. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Brace yourself for the ultimate holiday deal with Consumer Cellular. Snag an incredible 50% off the Iris Flip when you buy before December 17th, making it only $34.50. The Iris Flip is all the phone and camera you need with a user-friendly design, the perfect flip phone companion. Plus, you'll get nationwide coverage and always free activation. Score 50% off when you use promo code RADIO50. Head over to consumercellular.com and use promo code RADIO50 during checkout to score this deal.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun!
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Cause like a princess she was laying there, moonlight dancing off her hand. She woke up and took me by the hand.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. Rob, did you see yesterday? Winter's here, by the way.
Very cold.
Yeah, lake effect snow up in northern Indiana and all along up to New York. Lots of snow, like up to 30 inches, causing a lot of problems on the highway. But there's also high winds with this snow.
Yep.
And guess what it did?
Uh-oh.
You probably saw. It toppled over the National Christmas tree.
What?
Yeah, Biden was set to light that thing up tomorrow night at the White House. It was blown over by the wind.
It's that unsteady?
Yeah.
I mean, or are the winds that strong? Now, obviously, we got winds here, but apparently they're nothing like they're getting in other places. This is the big question, was this wind so strong that it took the tree down, or was this, shoddy craftsmanship?
Right. Was it not
Washington?
Stabilized enough? Don't you think it's a bit symbolic of the Biden administration?
The tree is falling over. I mean,
the tree tripped and fell.
I don't remember the tree tripping and fell. I don't ever remember the tree falling over, which you would think in all the years they've been doing this, they have had relatively high winds at some sort, which would lead me to believe perhaps there was some faulty workmanship at play here.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they haven't had bad weather in D.C. before.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
So this is a 100-year tradition, the lighting of the National Christmas tree. By the way, it's a 40-foot Norway spruce, and it arrived in Washington earlier this month from a national forest in West Virginia.
I wonder what that costs. Like, because you not only got to get the tree itself, then you got to get it to Washington, D.C. Where'd you say it was from?
It's from West Virginia.
Okay, so that's not too far of a trip. But somehow they've got to get that tree to. We should ask Pat Sullivan, because he works in the Christmas tree world, what it costs to move a Christmas tree.
Yeah, they put it on that big wagon and welcome it in.
Did you know, Pat, by the way, and I assume he still has this service, Pat Sullivan has a service for very, let's just say, high-end clientele, where if you are one of those people who has a gigantic Christmas tree, now, I can barely get a 3-foot tree in my home, but if you're someone like you who has many floors and very high ceilings, he has a service where each year they will come and put up the Christmas tree for you.
Yeah.
And then
They'll come and take it down.
take it down.
Yeah.
If I were a rich person, this is one of the first things I would do, Casey, because I love a Christmas tree. I hate putting the Christmas tree up.
Did you see that there's a tree in the lobby now? And I think that that's a Pat Sullivan piece of work.
Always happens. It's always a Pat
beautiful.
Sullivan piece of work, and they do great work there at Sullivan's Hardware. My wife asked me this year, because some of the lights are starting to go out on our Christmas tree. She's like, can we get a new Christmas tree this year? And I said, no, absolutely not. Have you seen the price of Christmas trees?
Yeah, Christmas trees are expensive,
I
especially the pre-lit ones.
I bought lights last year to replace the ones that aren't working. Of course, they're all on the tree, so there are lights that aren't working on the tree. But I work in radio. There's only so much I can do here, Casey.
How big is your tree?
I think it's 6
feet?
Yeah, 6 feet. Yeah.
Okay. Ask me how big mine is.
How big is your Christmas tree?
It's like 3 feet.
No way.
Yes.
In that mansion you live in?
It's a tiny little
Probably
thing.
looks so barren.
It's fine, Rob.
I mean, your house is like, I'm trying to give a description of Casey's house so people can picture this. Remember in the movie Citizen Kane, Xanadu? Isn't that the name where the main character lived?
Yeah.
Orson Welles. That's Casey's house, right?
Sure it is.
There's giant giraffes in the backyard, and a high rise where she can hold her glass of bourbon.
Don't be ridiculous. You know it's a glass of wine. Hey, something I wanted to ask you about. Jon Rahm, you know this guy.
I know Jon Rahm. Yes, one of the best golf players in the world. He's won the Masters. He's won the U.S. Open.
He's been offered $600 million to join Live Golf.
This is pretty wild because Live, of course, so for those of you who don't know, the professional golf is having a split very similar to what IndyCar did in the mid to late 90s, in which a group called Live Golf, which is backed by the Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund, has paid huge amounts of money to famous golfers to join their tour, like disgustingly sick amounts of money. Cam Smith has gone. Dustin Johnson has gone. Bryson DeChambeau has gone. Phil Mickelson's gone.
Brooks Koepka, did he go?
Brooks Koepka is there. So they have picked off several of the most famous golfers in the world. And the new rumor out, as you're alluding to, is that Jon Rahm, who is arguably the best golfer in the world, maybe Scottie Scheffler, but Jon Rahm is certainly one of the top 3 golfers in the world, that they are attempting to pry him away for a price tag of $600 million.
Okay, which could be like his biggest paycheck ever. But why is Liv throwing out these big offers if there's a merger on the way?
So this is the big question.
Is this an indication that maybe it's not going to happen?
There's a lot of people who believe. So Jordan Spieth was just added to the I'm going to get the name of it here wrong, but it's like the Players Board of Directors that kind of advocate for the players. And he was real kind of wishy-washy on what's going on the other day when he got asked about this. I would tend to believe that the lack of common ground is too wide to bridge. However, you never say never. So let's put this in comparison, though, when people are like, I can't believe these players are selling out and giving into the Saudi death money. If you had a phenomenal year on the PGA Tour, like a really, really good year, you might make $20 million, okay? So Jon Rahm would make essentially what it would take him 30 years to make on the PGA Tour. Who knows how long this contract actually is, but I can assure you it's infinitely more than he would make on the PGA Tour. And it's so easy for anyone to go, well, the principle, I would reject that on principle. No, you wouldn't.
Tiger Woods did.
Because Tiger Woods is worth billions
He's
of dollars,
already got
Casey.
the money set. Yeah, they offered him $800 million, and he said no thanks.
Tiger Woods, one, has infinite money, so he doesn't need the money. And two, Tiger Woods is the one guy who his legacy far exceeds any monetary value. Like it is when the history of golf is written, whenever the good Lord comes back and says no more golf for anyone, we're all playing on a different ball game now. it will be written that it'll be Jack Nicklaus 1A and Tiger Woods 1B in terms of the greatest golfers who ever lived. So he was not going to tarnish his legacy. He was not going to tarnish his legacy by joining LIV because he doesn't need the money.
Okay, so John Rahm. I just love saying his name, by the way. John Rahm.
John Rahm is a psycho if you've ever seen him play. Like, he's very angry on the golf course. I am totally convinced at some point John Rahm is going to take a fanned 4-iron and smash it in between somebody's skull. It's very, very animated on the golf course.
Well, he said that the appeal is there, but his heart remains with the PGA Tour. That,
what's his wife say? What does Mrs. Rahm say?
Right.
Because Mrs. Rahm is I think they've got like 2 kids now, and I think she's got very fine taste.
Of course she does.
And so what does Mrs. Rahm have to say?
Right, she'll be the deciding factor. Well, we'll see what happens there. I just think it's really interesting that maybe this is an indication that merger isn't going to happen after all.
Short of doing something that would put you in adult prison, is there anything you wouldn't do for $600 million?
No, probably not. Well, there's a few things that I think fear might stop me from doing.
Yeah.
Like jumping off a really high-rise building or something with a parachute.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a few things that I don't... I'd vomit all over myself on the way down, I guess.
I wouldn't do anything that would involve me spending a lengthy stay in a federal or state prison.
Right, that's not worth it.
But I think I'd be pretty open for the rest of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't have any money for you today, but I do have a great thank you for your performance. And thank you, Kevin. That's going to do it for us. Tony Katz is up next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hey, Rob.
Yes, Casey.
Did you hear Bill Demery, our retirement guy, is helping Indy residents add an instant 13% bonus on top of their retirement savings?
Wait. So you're saying like every $100 gets you $13 more?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Rob Kendall, and it adds up. You can get $13,000 for every $100,000 you invest.
13%, that's a heck of a bonus even to a super wealthy person like you.
It is. And then you get an extremely competitive return year after year. Over the past 10 years, it's been 7%, and it's backed by one of the world's largest insurance companies.
I guess that's why Indy calls Bill Demery your retirement guy. So if listeners want their 13%, Casey, what should they do?
Well, they should call Bill Demery today, 317-932-9912. It's not going to last long, though, Rob, so they need to call right now, 317-932-9912. That number, 317-932-9912.
Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year